Hello everyone. My dear ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. Fai venire le persone. Dear friends, can you please take a seat? Please take a seat. And thank you all for this morning. I think we had a great start. Lots of inspiring talks. Again, I would like to thank Sarah for having inspired us. And I need to say this. The author of the monologue is my colleague, Jack Colton. So a round of applause to him as well. So this afternoon is going to be dedicated to discuss the Venice Declaration. This is, the main outcome of our gathering here in Venice today and tomorrow. And as you know, the Venice Declaration is the result of consultation that we had over, I think, around 400 responses from people from all around the world to our first questions regarding what were the priorities for the ocean literacy community. We defined those priorities, and then we shared it again with the IOC group of experts for ocean literacy, with the steering committee of the Ocean Literacy with All program of the Ocean Decade, but also with the Scientific Advisory Board of the Decade Coordination Office on Connecting People in the Ocean, that I have the honor to coordinate. So this is already the results of a lot of discussions, exchanges with colleagues, with friends. But of course, we want to still hear your ideas, your views, and we need to enrich this declaration, and we need, most of all, this is super important for all of us. We want that you feel that this is your declaration. It's not UNESCO, it's not UN, it's not anyone, it's our declaration. So this is really important for us. And so we start this workshop to discuss the Venice Declaration. And I leave you in very, very good hands of my dear friend, Cristina Gabetti, Sustainability Advisor.
Thank you, Francesca. Ooh, thank you, Francesca. The volume is very loud. Okay, I am going to step down from the stage because the stage is actually in the room and not here. I'm going to call upon my new but friend who I deeply empathized with to come and help me, Nicola, because we really had, thanks to Francesca, a wonderful experience, and Paula, there she is, in reducing and trying to be as comprehensive as possible the declaration that we're now going to work on. So honoring what Nicola said, and I totally resonate with, we want to bring our energy down from the sphere of the mind, which is always very, very charged, into our heart space. So I'm actually going to guide you for just a few minutes into expanding our heart space, and I ask you to put down phones, things, uncross your legs and arms. There's a reason for that, actually, and all speakers should know that. When you're crossed like this, you close your energy field, and some people know that. And you're much more effective when you actually speak in an open way. So everyone kindly close their eyes. Take a big breath in, remembering that 50% of the oxygen on this planet comes from the oceans. And expand your energy field. Science calls it the peripersonal space. It actually does exist. We are fields of energy. So we want to expand our space, feel our feet firmly rooted on the ground, and bring that energy up and bring energy down from the heavens and let it mix in our heart space and make our heart space huge. And just recall meaningful moments, a meaningful moment by the sea, in the sea, about the sea. Because to address our sense of urgency, we want to care deep enough to know that we can be change makers, that we are change makers. We want to empower all the wonderful things we do with our feeling. So take a moment to just live a memory related to the sea. And from this space and this feeling, cast your intention. We are literally giving birth to something very, very important. This Venice Declaration is going to go into the world tomorrow, informed with your feeling and informed by your experience. So when you feel ready, without leaving this deep love we have for the oceans, and may I say for our water systems, because many of us might not live by the ocean, but maybe by a river or by a lake. All water systems are connected. And what we're going to do now is review, point by point, the 10 points of the Venice Declaration and see if there's something that's missing, see if it can be, we want it to be simple, but if there's something that's missing or that needs to be addressed, this is the time to do it. Okay, so we can all open our eyes and take another big breath in, and thank you for projecting the first point of our document. Okay, this is the first point. It's okay. They're not in a chronological order. That's really important to know. And I think that even when it goes into the world, for some people, this is point number one. For others, it might be, another. Thank you very much. It might be further down. In any case, make the processes of urban planning and policy making more participatory. This requires motivating all stakeholders by creating ocean literacy programs for municipalities, planners, local businesses, and residents to educate them on ocean governance and ocean law, ocean health, climate change, and sea level rise. Improving ocean literacy in urban areas and fostering collaboration among key actors enables citizens and policymakers to create balanced, forward-looking policies together. So collaboration is probably the key word in this condensed, but still quite wordy point. And I would like to give a microphone to Nicola. I'm sorry, this is probably is this me making noise? I will remove it. Okay, So this is going to be an action-oriented, and let's remember that ocean literacy has to be perceived as an, sorry, as a process of action. I don't want to tear my earlobe off. Because we know everything is already known. What we need to do is bring it into action. And I think what we take away from the morning is that to modify educational curricula is a very, very long process. But what about working at the edges? What about working on non-formal settings? What about highlighting experiences such as Jasmine's, right? Shamin's wonderful story today. What about really giving power to all the doers? And there's so many. And imagining a meta portal of portals where people can share their practices and create imitation around the world. So I'm not going to speak anymore. Who would like to say something about, there you go. Okay, I'm going to have to be, I hate doing this, but a kind of strict timekeeper, so please go straight to your point. And
so, I mean, you were amazing with the meditation.
Oh, thank you.
The very first action, which starts with make the processes of urban planning and policy making more participatory, I feel number 5th action should come first.
Okay,
make ocean literacy actionable, accessible, equitable, diverse, and inclusive.
Thank you for your contribution. Yeah. I repeat, these are not in chronological order. So we are going to go through every single point. Please comment this point specifically. Anything here?
Hi, just one small inclusion that I would make here, because this will be read by policymakers, and I think it will make it more understandable to those circles. I would add, make the processes of urban and marine spatial planning, or at least urban and coastal planning, you know, just some, because it will probably be a question that people will be asking themselves.
That's a wonderful point. Thank you very much. We're not just talking about urban contexts, but coasts. You might want to say your names as you speak, just for people who are behind you.
Okay, hi, my name is Tayane. I am a Brazilian environmental engineer and actress, and I have been working with plastic pollution, cleanups, and education also, and I really miss plastic pollution here, and ocean law, ocean health, climate change, and I would add plastic pollution and sea level rise, especially because of the global south.
Okay, again, I beg you, we're on point number 1. We do have references to plastic pollution further down in the document. Okay, so any comments on point number 1?
I have people here. Here we go.
Oh, thank you,
Let's
Nicola.
talk about this gentleman.
Oh, we have Shamin here.
Thank you very much. So, Pierre, EU for Ocean. Maybe first suggestion is to make the title more ocean literacy focused, because the title as it is here is much beyond the remit of our group, and ocean literacy is only one component of what can make process of urban planning and policy making more participatory. So I would suggest reversing and have a title that is ocean literacy focused, like bring the ocean to the mind of people, and then behind saying it will support urban planning and policy making. And maybe a general comment, it goes back to your introduction, feelings, and it goes back to what Nicola presented this morning, love. When you read the document as it is now, there is hardly any reference to love and feelings. So suggestion is to bring this at the forefront, and then as a result, get a series of actions that will bring love and feeling to different audiences. You mentioned also simple. The text is not too simple to read.
Okay, thank you for all your comments. I think that to the first point, the effort here is to really emphasize the action. Ocean literacy risks being intended mostly as an intellectual process. What we're trying to really address is the holistic nature of the challenge that we face. Thank you for saying that love needs to be in it. I think we might have been a bit fearful on that front, but Nicola really did say it in a very strong way today. The spiritual and the emotional part are the biggest challenge. And if we look at neuroscience, most decisions we make in our lives are dictated by how we feel. So that's why I'm so deeply grateful for Francesca for bringing this approach into this room and into this space.
Do I need to stand up?
No?
Yeah, thank you very much. For me, when I read the first part of the sentence, make the processes, for me it's kind of not clear which kind of processes are we referring to exactly. Are they negotiation processes, formulation processes? If we're talking about citizens and policymakers, I would rather refer to it maybe as an advocacy strategy for policymakers and the citizens as well, rather than leaving it at make the processes. It brings lots of questions. Thank you.
That's a very valid point, I think, but you know, someone correct me if they don't agree. I think that we are addressing a very broad spectrum of processes. Let's remember, this wants to be a framework. So this is then when it goes into the world, it will be informed by the experiences, the competencies, the roles of all stakeholders, very, very broad spectrum of stakeholders. So maybe that's why processes was the chosen word, but it certainly can be modified if it's not clear. Any burning comments on point number 1? And then we're going to have to move, because I can tell already we could spend the entire day here, and unfortunately we don't have the entire day.
Thank you so much for this. I wanted to ask you a question, actually. Why the word urban? Does it represent us all, or like, shall we try to find another word maybe that is more representative also of like the countryside? Countryside people are also linked to the ocean. It's just a question, does it represent you all?
I think that we were probably reasoning in terms of critical mass, but the point was made also previously, and yes, it's probably coastal communities, but cities do impact the oceans negatively in a huge way, and also are a hub of immense opportunities.
I'm going to be super fast. So it's about putting the word future, and it's not just forward-looking, because since we are working on an agenda that has a very strict deadline, which is very urgent, like to tackle emotions that now are all about fear and also overwhelmingness, if we put future, like not just for the processes, because processes are because of the present, but forward-looking policies needs to look at the future, and the future needs to be addressed and should have been addressed by 2025. So I think that future and putting a deadline is very important. Like in terms of urban planning, that's what policymakers understand, deadlines. So it's all about that, I think.
Thank you very much. I think we have time for one. Nicola?
I've got a choice.
You got a choice.
Which of the
I mean, this is terrible because we could stay here.
Sorry,
all
I'll
night.
make it quick so maybe Ronaldo can also give a point. So I'm Afik. I think what's missing in terms of urban planning is coastal erosion as well as land reclamation. So there are activities going around with urban planning that requires adding more land, and sometimes that causes coastal erosion that doesn't necessarily, people are not considering that. So hopefully...
That's a good point. I think it's implied in other points, but good to be specific. Okay, one more, and then, I mean, we do have a second part. No, we're already, we have tons of other points. You're going to have many other things to say. Okay, Elsie.
Thank you. I was looking at the word stakeholders by creating ocean literacy programs. For a key word here would be to emphasize and insert the word government, because the educational department of the government needs to adopt the curriculum, and the government is the top chief of the municipalities and planners. So I'm wondering if the word government needs to get in there? I mean, it is obvious that they are the main stakeholders, but the word government, because ultimately they give the permission and it spirals downwards. Thank you.
That's a good point. Again, I think we're working at the processes that really lead to creating an ecosystem so the governments receive information that then is ready to be implemented. Okay, someone help me. I could go on for days. We're not going to... You're going to all be invited to spend the night with me. You understand that, right?
Just a quick comment following up on the pollution point, because we just checked the whole document and pollution is not mentioned and plastic not. So even if we weren't to mention plastic, but at least pollution and having it a link to especially the concentrated areas.
Okay, that's a very good point. I was sure that we did have plastic in there, but maybe okay. Then probably we'll go by consensus later, then considering the critical mass and all the terrifying data that we have on waste and landfills, it should probably go into this point. Okay. Let's move on to the second before there's... Okay, may I say something? As of tomorrow, there is going to be a link, a portal that will be the repository of all your comments and will inform the document. So it's just coming into the world now. Okay, this is really we're the last 24 hours of gestation, just so you know that it's just the beginning of a very complex and participated process. Okay, I'm not thanking anyone, I'm doing it myself. I guess I go this way? No. I go this way? No. I go this way? Yes. Okay. Launch transdisciplinary programs that merge natural and social sciences with humanities and design in joint projects and studies. This approach prioritizes collaboration and generates knowledge collectively. By forging partnerships with non-academic stakeholders, indigenous peoples, and coastal communities, we develop opportunities centered around knowledge, ethics, and context. Open to discussion. Nicola?
I will be fast, Pierre, EU for Ocean. I closed my eyes when you said the words that I hear. I don't know what is the link with ocean literacy, so at least there should be a connection made with ocean literacy, like you launch transdisciplinary programs to better understand change of behavior and how ocean literacy could then affect these changes. And maybe a very general comment, I said it, I missed in the declaration the link between the Challenge 10 paper that was presented by Nicola and this declaration as a way to bring what the Challenge 10 paper has put on the table towards action and implementation. So these links, for me, would strengthen the declaration.
Okay, I might just we risk hearing this comment from you at every point. Ocean literacy in action informs the entire document. We could not reiterate it at every single point. Okay, that's that's key. I mean, this is the Venice Declaration of Ocean Literacy in Action. So it's infused in the entire document. Nicola, do you have a comment about the coherence or lack of with, also with your white paper?
Yes. I think the problem, well, not the problem. One thing is that we, as I said, hopefully that came through earlier, is that perhaps the definition, how we define ocean literacy, we're still a bit past and so if we're still thinking, the ocean literacy is your understanding of your influence on the ocean and its influence on you, I think what we need to try to do in this room now is think back to some of the things that went into the white paper, which again was hundreds and hundreds, thousands potentially of comments. There was an expert group, and Diz and I basically wrote it, but we received feedback from hundreds of people. So I really, I'm not trying to kind of force my white paper agenda, but we did a lot of work there around restoring society's relationship with the ocean, which is what we're trying to do here now. So to pull all of that together, I think, I know what you mean, Pierre. Maybe it doesn't say ocean literacy in point 2 per se, but I think we have to kind of change our minds a little bit about what we understand ocean literacy is and the definition of it. And then also, this is a draft, and maybe, we can go look at the white paper and perhaps the drivers, perhaps by the end of tomorrow, or actually tomorrow morning we've got to get this sorted, perhaps we could have this sectioned into kind of bits that reflect the white paper a bit more. But I'm very open to that. I'm not here to push the white paper agenda, although it was a fully kind of researched and well contributed to piece of work. So yeah, maybe there's better ways to show how that is kind of moving into this. This is potentially, the first key and I can never say that word, operationalization of the white paper. And so we can't just copy the white paper into this, but what are the key bits that we can pull out?
There's one key word that you used today, which is will. We need to, I think, and we need an open mind as to the fact that the action means many different stimuli from even design. I mean, design is a really important word because design is about processes, it's about plastics, it's about, okay. Francesca?
No, just going back to the drivers, they are all there. Because we have knowledge systems, and we say, I was going to say plusieurs fois, different times, just to go to Pierre, to talk to Pierre. We have knowledge systems said many times. We talk about indigenous communities, local knowledge. We have education, second driver there. We have communication, fourth driver there. And we have what was the culture there. So we have all the 4 drivers of the white paper in the Venice Declaration.
Thank you very much.
I know it better than you.
Comments? Paola, are you managing to keep track of this very dynamic conversation?
Yeah, I feel like there's one key stakeholder that we've left out because we've talked about with non-academic stakeholders, indigenous peoples and coastal communities, but then we are leaving out local communities because those are the people that do not stay maybe near the coast, but then they do not know that ocean climate affects them. So we also need to mention local communities as well.
Very good point, and that's why earlier I said let's remember all water systems are connected and life by a river is highly impactful on the health of the oceans also. Other comments to point number, just numerically number 2, not in terms of priority?
How about some mentioning of also blue economy? I mean, as a dependent on
we
the
have
ocean.
that further down. We do have that.
Did we? Okay. I overlooked it.
It's okay.
I actually really like this point, and I was just wondering, at the end of the center, we develop opportunities center around knowledge, ethics, and context. I think maybe also traditions, oral traditions that belong to the culture of these local communities. Because for me, the word context is not so clear, so I don't understand exactly what is meant.
Okay, so. Agreed. Other comments? It always happens like this. I want other people to speak too. Not that I don't want you all to speak.
I'm really sorry. The first 2 points are my favorite ones, so it just happens.
We're happy
like
to
this.
have you.
I'm Mariana, by the way. I work in involving people out in the ocean to collect ocean data. I'm a mediator between the scientists and the citizens. And I feel like this is my favorite point because it's about participation. But I also think that in terms of participation, an ocean literate person is also someone who's aware of their contribution to ocean research in whatever ways that could be. And citizen science is also something that is emerging as a very powerful tool to widespread ocean literacy. Is there any way that we could make slightly more clear, maybe adding the word citizen science in this point to make sure that also this representation of research and active education is also in this declaration, because it would help our work that we do on the field a lot easier as well.
Absolutely, thank you. And when I think of design processes, information design is always such a wonderful way of having an immediate reading of data that is collected. So I'm wondering whether there could be a system where citizen science and findings and research, not only collection of data, but also collection of practices, which I think many of us are obsessed about, and then turn them into graphs that people can immediately read and understand to get a sense of impact.
It's the same. The two first points are very sensitive. Well, about design, in the last 10 years, design has been used, for example, for human-centered design, and now there is the opposite about non-human-centered design, but then let's forge a new world. And just say ocean-centered design.
Okay.
Because
Sure.
in the field of design specifically, in architecture and design, people are thinking that design with the sea is maritime special planning, but this is not what it is about. Then to design with the ocean needs new words. And then you need to put in, why not ocean-centric design? Because everybody's appropriating actually human-centered design, and then you are, oh no, non-human anthropocentric design. But then let's put ocean-centric design. Why not?
Why not? I like that.
We have somebody over here. Here we go.
Go for it.
Do you want? Yeah.
Nicola.
Okay.
Sorry. Sorry, again. So this is just a word before the collaboration. I can't decide yet which word it is, probably preservation or protection of prior to collaboration, because as mentioned before, some of the ocean literacy efforts are being threatened. So prioritizing preservation and or protection of knowledge, as well as collaboration and generation of new knowledge. That is
I
my
see
point.
your point in my view, but correct me, Francesca, and anyone else if they disagree. That is kind of the life that the declaration will have when it enters its different streams, because collaboration really isn't meant in the broadest sense. I think that preservation, regeneration, those are, not the unspoken truths in every point. That's really why we're here, I think.
Yeah, but as in, for my point on why that word should exist there before the collaboration is because it is an ongoing threat happening globally, probably not as apparent in the Western or Northern, but it is something prevalent in the South. So that's why I think it's important to put in there. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments? Should we go on to the next point? I'm very happy about this vibrant participation. No, I'm going in the wrong direction. Sorry about this. Is this right, Paula? Yes. Yeah, no, this is right. Okay. This is for Pierre. Develop a solid and adaptable blue curriculum framework. Yes, framework I think is really important. Frameworks are then to be filled by the local governments, associations, schools. Support a blue curriculum through inclusive programs such as the Blue Schools Global Network, recognizing the importance of integrating ocean contents across disciplines, fostering a deeper human and emotional connection with nature. We appeal to governments to facilitate this process by supporting the Blue Schools program, transforming their educational content, practices, and culture to prioritize a whole school approach. An integrated ocean literacy educational approach should ensure the protection of children's rights and restore value to local and traditional knowledge systems as well as to intangible heritage practices. Pierre has something to say.
Yeah, very quick. Maybe we could have a title that is more encompassing, which is Bring the Blue in the Education System, the curriculum being one component of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I go back to what we heard this morning, I think we need to recognize what's going outside, which is in the sustainable education field. So I think there is also an issue of how to bring the blue into the sustainable education, because otherwise we get two processes in parallel that should be very strongly connected.
Yes, that opens another complicated conversation which we don't have time to address now, but how do we define sustainable and do we prefer regenerative? I don't know if you agree with me, but I find it's a much more appropriate term for today. I would like people to share their experiences on the field, in their domains, in their circumstances, in their contexts.
Yeah, thank you very much for this microphone. I didn't expect that.
There you go.
Since we just discussed about this. So as you maybe know, I'm Arturo. I tried to explain a few hours ago the initiatives the European Union is doing for ocean literacy, but dealing with your question on the field experience. And someone of you may know I'm a Coast Guard officer. So basically I spent the last 16 years of my life dealing with the ocean on a practical way. So, and also defending, actually my field of expertise is saving people at sea. So basically I did it with my bare hands since the very beginning, let's say. So I do think that more on the field experience and more practical experience must be part of, as we want to call it, blue curriculum or blue education in general. It must be, it must touch also the practical aspects to encompass a complete way to educate in a blue way, let's say. Thank you.
Thank you, Arturo. I think it's important to understand, and again, happy to hear as many of you as might want to contribute, because the background, what we do is informed by our previous experiences, our passions is really, really important. And I think that learning about jobs at sea, even if it might take a long time to transform school curriculums, but a day with local businesses, it's so important for people to know that in all areas, be it food, engineering, transportation, commerce, textiles, all the innovation that's happening with, and just has barely happened, and the perspective of seaweed and et cetera, energy, wind farms. It's a long array of things, and I often facilitate workshops in schools where I help children understand the holistic nature of sustainable development. And when I say, how many people have their favorite moments at sea? Everyone's with their hand up. How many people are going to actually work for the sea? No one raises their hand because they don't have an idea of the opportunities that the ocean offers. So,
Christina, can I pass the microphone to somebody at the back here? We've got someone right
thank
at the
you.
back.
And then we have one here. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Ashwini, working for United Nations World Food Programme. Basically, for blue economy and food systems, there are supply chains and food value chains and food systems integration with the digital technologies and the telecommunications 5G technologies, which could be implemented in the ocean sector also, and to bring about changes and transformation initiatives in these multi-sector approaches, basically.
Thank you. Yes, that's again in the field of information collection. We'll go this way. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Diana Payne from University of Connecticut. I'm also a member of the group of experts in ocean literacy with all. based on some of the comments that we've just heard, as well as what we heard this morning, I think one of the words that could encompass a lot of what we're talking about is non-formal. And we heard about the importance of non-formal, so that would mean changing the title a little bit as well, but I think that's a key component. And then just a comment about the numbering, maybe instead of using numbers, since they're not ordinal, just use bullet points or something.
Well, that's why we did not put numbers up. Thank you for noticing that. We had conversations about that. Yes, the conversation about between formal and non-formal is, in my feeling is it's more successful and we have more opportunities working at the edges. So non-formally and then hopefully informing. Yeah, exactly. So maybe it should be spelled out, yes.
Thank you. Oof, sorry. Yeah, so I'm Louise Bigot, working for the French Biodiversity Agency, which is currently running the Educational Marine Areas program, which is the largest blue schools equivalent project in France. We have more than 1,000 educational areas in France, and we are running it with the French ministries for education, environment, and overseas territories. Maybe to present it in 2 words. So it's an educational program rooted in school education, where pupils choose an area close to their home and start to think about it, and particularly on its biodiversity. So pupils are aged between 8 and 18, and they are assisted by their teacher and an external referent. So there are 4 key points. Develop a sensitive link with biodiversity, develop their ecocitizenship in the links with local stakeholders. Pupils are the center of the project, so they guide the project and they propose initiatives with local stakeholders. And finally, it's a concrete, motivating project to develop all the curriculum skills through project-based learning. So based on that, I have some comments, based on this experience, some comments on this article. So as said this morning, it's not enough, there is not enough direct experiences outside. So it's important to really put a point on that outdoor schooling is an important component of ocean literacy. And I would add also that there is a final goal behind this education to ocean and to ocean literacy. And I think it should be put maybe in other part of the declaration also. Is it that the final goal is to foster societal and transformative changes toward not only the ocean, but our relation with nature in general. And it brings me to my last point. It's important to include ocean literacy in the more global education to environment. And maybe I will add last thing. It's important also to address the fact that we need to build partnerships between countries and programs. As I explained, there are different types of blue schools, and depending of countries, yeah, we need to exchange on it. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that we definitely resonate and agree on everything that you've said, and the kindergarten is definitely rooted in the outdoors experience and will want to only expand.
Yeah, hello. I'm Evi Kopians, coordinator of European Blue School Network. I have a few comments here. First, I agree totally with Pierre of bringing in the ocean into sustainability education and also environmental education, but also climate education, outdoor education. There's many ways to bring the ocean in, and I think it's a low-hanging fruit here or in UNESCO schools to bring the ocean topics in all these different levels of education. So that's one thing. The second thing is we need to be a bit careful with definitions, especially the word blue curriculum. What does that mean, a blue curriculum? Is that a curriculum for vet schools that will train students to go out at sea? Or is it just a formal curriculum, a science curriculum, where we add some ocean topics, so it is correct? The system is there completely. So and on top of that, then the question is, what's the link between the blue curriculum and the blue school program? These are, again, also different things. Blue school program has some special characteristics. It's project education, open schooling. So we are trying to establish this all over the world, but it's not the same as a blue curriculum. It's something different. So the title, I would, like Pierre said, do it more general, and then add the different things, and give a bit more explanation about what the blue curriculum actually means.
I think we're talking about a framework, so I think it will be informed as, you know, it then comes into action in different countries. There is need for education along the entire line, from educating teachers to designing curriculum to making it outdoors to making it participatory. I think the key word is transdisciplinary when we read that point in the previous, because that's all encompassing. In any case, thank you. We have, Nicola, we have one comment there, and then we'll come to you.
Thank you. My name is Raquel Costa. I'm from the group of experts of ocean literacy, and I am working with the Blue Schools Network, with Ana Vitória, and with the former All Atlantic Blue Schools. So, in my opinion, I understand why people are against curriculum in the title, because when we talk about curriculum, the curriculum have a definition, only one definition. And when we talk about curriculum, we are not talking about disciplinary program. This is not the same. So a curriculum, it's an umbrella document. And in each state, the curriculum will be translated in programs in each disciplines. So when we talk about curriculum, it's an umbrella one, but we need to explain to people what the meaning of the curriculum. So in the title, I think we can forget the curriculum if you want, and we can develop a blue
educational framework?
Educational framework for the education system, the whole education system. And this, in this matter, I think it's, we have a good point. And then I think this text is helpful, but it's very difficult to read. And we should simplify the whole text with the words holistic approach and transdisciplinary approach, and maybe forget the integrating ocean content across disciplines, because we don't need it.
Sure, we might as well pick up transdisciplinary. I agree with you, is a key word, and thank you for the specifying about the curriculum. So we call it, it is a framework, a blue you will find the word that's not, it could be educational. Did you want to?
Just a very short addition, because here it's mentioned, ensure the protection of children's rights, where maybe we should even have it more inclusive as human rights.
And also, a point was made, and I might as well add it here, about the rights of the oceans. The ocean as a living entity, which we all know and feel, but this could be possibly the point where it's spelled out. So all forms of life, we're respecting humans, human and non-human forms of life. Do you think it could make sense in this point? We know, well, let's carry this thought through. If it's not here, it could be in another one. Nicola, do you have something to add?
I'm not sure if it's here that would go.
Okay.
Yeah, but we
will
need to
happen.
put it in somewhere. And you know, with all of the work that I do on schools, curriculum, I'm really leaning towards the comments in this room. I think it needs to be a bit more. And I hate the word generic, but otherwise it will be too confusing and it won't happen. So how can we make it easier to understand? Yeah.
I think, I mean, we went through a huge process of reduction. I think it can happen even more. It's good to be making it a collective process. Thank you, everyone, really, for putting your hearts and your minds to this. Okay, I'm left-handed, so I do things backward. As you can tell by the fact that, okay, this is an important point. Enhance access to funding to drive ocean-focused innovation. Innovation thrives on bold ideas and the availability of financial resources. By simplifying application processes, offering mentorship to new innovators, and ensuring equal opportunities, we can fully harness human creativity and drive meaningful change in our relationship with the ocean. Pierre, yes, exactly. Not that we don't want to hear from you. Thank you.
Thanks. Anton Holland. I'm the CEO of a strategic communication company called NIVA from Canada. I think the statements here are good, but perhaps we need to add something that mentions not only enhancing access to funding, but the imperative to make more funding available.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, really important. And I shared with a few of you, I visited recently a friend in Turkey, and he's used funds from a big company for CSR initiatives, and that way he's funding a classroom on the water and bringing people from inland who have never been to the water and exposing them to opportunities and to the wonders of life at sea. So there are initiatives and creative ways where people can be spending corporate money and private funds for this cause. Wait, you know what? I don't have anything against Pierre, but we have a question from behind first.
Sorry, Pierre. Ronaldo from Brazil, from the group of experts. I think my suggestions that would go for when we say ensuring equal opportunities, but for who? What are we talking about? For the funding, and I would suggest to change the word equal, although I'm not a native speaker, I might be wrong, but equal for me means the same opportunity for everyone. For equitable, that means allowing more opportunities for the ones that has less. So I miss to see, I know there is a specific, the next one will be specific on diversity, equity, and inclusion, but I miss to see something that the State of Ocean report just showed us, but we have a bias, as has been for ocean science, but also in ocean literacy, regarding global north and global south. So I think it's something that the Venice Declaration should address and make it as equitable for the global south.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I take it or I don't take it? I take it or?
I take it. Go.
Okay, thank you. Maybe two suggestions, because I don't see it too connected to ocean literacy when I read it. I would suggest two adaptations. The first one is to drive ocean-focused social innovation, because what is driving us in the field of ocean literacy is really social innovation, and a lot of attention is given to technological innovation, so that's what I would suggest. And the second point is, from an earlier experience, doing hackathon with very smart people developing technologies, we realize that when they start, they never think about their connections to the ocean. So there is an issue with corporate social responsibility at the start of a process. Mm-hmm. And if you bring a bit of ocean literacy at the beginning, maybe you're a bit more helpful, but at the end, innovation are societally driven.
I think there's room for both.
Yeah, agree.
And but thank you very much.
Hi, Vinicius Lindoso with IOC of UNESCO. Here, really, I just wanted to see how we could connect, potentially even merge this with the one that will follow, because I think it's all about JEDI principles, and this is very much part of the inclusivity and diversity. And I know that 9 actions is not as easily communicable as 10, but just because we have 10 fingers, I think we should still see how we can actually make one stronger point rather than 2 relatively dissociated ones.
Okay, thank you.
We have.
Yes, I think we'll, in the end, there's room for 10 by reorganizing.
Yeah, thank you once again. I just wanted to make a quick comment in terms of innovation, because people can innovate technologies that are very harmful to our ocean. So maybe I would talk about enhance access to funding to drive sustainable ocean climate-focused innovation solutions, so that we provide solutions that are not harming our ocean.
That's a very good point. I mean, deep sea mining is seen as an innovation, and I don't think any of us are in favor of that. Very happy we're getting new voices. Thank you.
Vera Noon, a consultant in ocean-related issues. My comment is conditional. So the way I see this, the center is on funding, not on innovation. If it is indeed on funding, sometimes you want to fund solutions that are not necessarily innovative, like traditional or nature-based, or they're not really innovative. So if the focus is on funding, maybe we would include that. If the focus is on innovation, then I will not add anything else.
Thank you very much for your point. I'm a big fan of nature-based solutions, and I think you're absolutely right. Okay, we're going to take I'm just telling where the second part will be later, because...
Just to follow, I couldn't agree more with that
me
comment
neither.
you made, because funding, we all know that funding is a huge issue. So I think tying funding directly to innovation may not be the way we want to go. That needs to be separate, or as Vinny said, combined. But we need to have a very separate task for funding that is more than just innovation.
And it could be a point in itself. I mean, we know that applying for funding is the most complicated process. There's often funds that are not assigned because people don't know how to apply for the funds. So that in itself could just be a point.
I'm gonna totally interrupt over here. I agree. I think that I'm doing it. I'm over here. I'm chatting.
Do it.
I'm in the pub, leaning on the bar. Yeah, the social innovation. Where's he gone? There he is. Innovation for social-based. Oh God, I'm in front of the camera. Hello. Yeah, I think we need. Get potentially. This is one line, isn't it? More funding for ocean literacy initiatives. Yeah,
it is definitely.
Good teamwork, guys.
Very good teamwork.
Good teamwork.
Okay.
Shweta from Group of Experts. With the social, what he said, I would like to include here with the conservation and restoration, because often it's very human-centric, and we have to also bring in conservation and restoration if we are talking about deep sea mining here.
Yeah, well, we're avoiding that word, but yes, to make your point, yes, you're absolutely right. Okay, so next point. I can't remember, how many more do we have left? 3, right? Okay, I'm not sure we'll get to the end of the list, but we do have a second part of the workshop after the conference, the panel. Okay, make ocean literacy actionable, accessible, equitable, diverse, and inclusive. We must adopt a multifaceted approach, from physical to digital and multisensory experiences in multiple languages. By offering personalized access to ocean knowledge and crafting narratives that forge emotional bonds, we can ensure greater inclusivity and impact. So here are some buzzwords that we did not have in other points, and they're kind of concentrated here. And just to give a personal note, I think that before we go into technology-enhanced experiences, let's really embrace what our 5 senses can give us and our heart, and let's engage in person before we're all wearing VR sets.
I would maybe add, make ocean literacy science-based, yet actionable, accessible, etc.
Yeah, it's okay, because we're talking about the value of experience too, and action, which can be restorative, and it does not necessarily have to be based in science, but in traditions. And I don't think it excludes science-based if we don't put it.
I'm Elsie Gabriel, founder of Young Environmentalist Program Mumbai, and also the founder of Ocean School India, and certified diver in specializing in training for disabled, accessible communities, the vulnerable communities during a climate crisis, during a climate ocean crisis, so like tsunamis in the south and disasters and which are ocean related. So I think the word, by offering personalized access to ocean knowledge and crafting measurable impact could be a better word, a string of words rather than narratives, because we are running out of time, and then it's like now the urgency needs to come into that statement. So like when I'm talking to the divers and the surfers and the ocean communities, fisher folks, and how they can really make it accessible and inclusivity. So I think measurable impact is a good word.
I think that's a very good, and yes, see what sense of urgency does now? All of a sudden we're getting all the right words and we're running out of time, but we will have a moment later. Okay, you go. Oh wait, do I have two mics? No, I don't.
Okay, I'll make it short. Arndt from Ocean Eco Consultants. Very small change I would like to propose, and it would be just 3 words, I think, in multiple languages and on multiple levels. I'm working on the science policy interface. Yep. And very often the policymakers feel that ocean literacy is not for them because they don't find themselves in the presentation of the way material and topics are presented. So I think the levels play a big role, that it's not just inclusivity on the level of multisensory experiences, but actually also on the level scale. Thanks.
And I think for languages, we intend it in a broad sense. We intend sign languages. We intend all those forms of communication that are for a totally broad and inclusive audience. A new voice. I'll come back to you afterwards.
Thank you. Joshua from Sounds of the Ocean. Just looking at this slide, I'm seeing in multiple languages. And as an artist myself, I find that music also can be the most powerful language. So I would love to throw that into the mix to add to this particular topic, to allow music and sound, especially to inspire us to care about the ocean. Thank you.
Thank you. I was thinking about that earlier when I was asking you to connect to memories of the ocean. Even people who have never been to the ocean have heard sounds of the ocean. So sounds are definitely a very important aspect. Okay, someone's going to have to say stop whenever that moment comes, but until then, here you go.
So maybe just to take back all the 2 is multiple languages and media.
Yeah.
Because then you just talked about, of course, like digital.
Yeah, that's,
and
I guess, a good way to. Thank you.
Languages and media, and just the fact, by offering experience to ocean knowledge, not personalized access. Maybe.
Experience, sorry?
Experience, because we are talking about the experience of this knowledge, to make the knowledge experienceable and emotional. So it's not by offering personalized access, but to offering the experience to ocean knowledge, because then it
Thank you. Thank you. This is wonderful.
Can I go for Nat here? She's had her arm's going to fall off. She's had it up for a while.
Go.
Thanks, I'm Nat. I would also say this is where we can incorporate listening, and so adding on from receiving knowledge, also exchanging knowledge, so maybe facilitating ocean knowledge exchange.
Very important point, thank you. Quick.
Yeah, maybe to add very quickly to what you said at the beginning, I think we must emphasize on the physical experience with nature. And also the fact that we can do ocean literacy in outdoor, even 2,000 kilometers from the coast, and because all ecosystems are linked with the ocean. Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's the training for educators.
Thank you all so much for these very thoughtful comments. I think we can stop and then continue with the points, but I just wanted to highlight that I'm against merging this one with the previous one, because these are two different points. So the first one is really what Nicola said. We want more funding for ocean literacy.
Yes.
That's it. And then we said, this is about training people, mentoring people, making calls for proposals more accessible, so it's a different thing. This is really how we make ocean literacy initiatives more, more inclusive, and great about including different types of languages, not only the words that we pronounce, but like music and art. And I think, we had a very nice conversation with some curators of art and science projects, saying that we need more facilitators of those exchanges between art and science, because most of the time the curators are more towards the artistic part, but we need also curators that understand the science and that can really, facilitate real connection between these two worlds, because in the cases in which this happens, we can have new science, new research questions, new publications. So I think, making this visible here, I think it's a really good point, but I just wanted to say, let's not merge the two. And one additional thing, looking at Michela, I think in the blue curriculum, or whatever we are gonna call it, I think we need to say outdoor education, or outdoor learning. We need to highlight that, to go back to your point of learning in nature. We said it, we wanted to connect people to nature, but I think we need to really specify that we want to promote outdoor learning, outdoor education.
Thank you very much. So is it time to wrap up? Yeah. Okay, it's time to break, but we are going to continue. And I'll anticipate with a question. Tomorrow we will be endorsing the declaration, and it would be nice that each point have a voice. So start asking yourself whether that inner voice of yours is waiting to come out into the world, so that, and what point you would like to, in case, adopt, okay? But we will discuss the remaining points, and we will also discuss how we envision the journey from tomorrow on of this declaration. Thank you very much for your very active participation.
Ladies and gentlemen, can you please take your seat? Ladies and gentlemen, puoi chiamare le persone. Chiama le persone. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please take your seat? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for this high-level panel, and I'm very happy to call on stage Magdalena Landry, Director of the UNESCO Regional Bureau for Science and Culture in Europe, Lorenzo Bertelli, Executive Director of the Prada Group, but also patron of the Ocean Decade Alliance, and Massimiliano Sirena, Team Director of Luna Rossa. Re-seating. So for this high-level panel, we are going to hear from somebody who is in Costa Rica right now. As you know, while we are gathering here in Venice, at the same time, there is another important event in the run-up of the UN Ocean Conference, which is called Immersed in Change. And therefore, we wanted to create this link between what is happening here in Venice and what is happening in Costa Rica, as we think that these are two events that are closely connected and working to make sure that ocean literacy is going to have a central role in the next UN Ocean Conference. So I would like, please, to show a video message that was sent to us by Peter Thompson, who is the UN Secretary General Special Envoy for the Ocean.
Ladies and gentlemen, warm greetings and sincere thanks for the honor of addressing you today at the inaugural Ocean Literacy World Conference in the historic city of Venice. As the UN Secretary General's Special Envoy for the Ocean, I'm greatly heartened by the collective journey we're embarking upon today, united in our commitment to the well-being of the ocean in acknowledgement of its critical role for our shared future. The journey is underway around the world. In fact, I'm speaking to you from a simultaneous high-level event on ocean action being held in San Jose, Costa Rica. Both these events represent giant strides towards the third UN Ocean Conference, which is occurring in the beautiful city of Nice from 9th to 13th of June next year, where we can confidently predict that ocean literacy will rise to even higher levels. Ocean literacy sits at the heart of the targets of the United Nations Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development. The importance of the UN Decade cannot be overstated, and this is increasingly being recognized around the world. As I said 2 months ago at the Ocean Decade's conference in Barcelona, ocean science is now receiving more attention than ever before in human history, and rightly so. It is said that action without knowledge is foolishness, while knowledge without action is wastefulness. So let us be neither wasteful nor foolish. Let us imbue our ocean action with knowledge that comes to us from the very best of ocean science. In pursuance of our mission as advocates of ocean literacy, we must spread the word that an essential component of human security on this planet is the restoration of humanity's relationship with the ocean to one of respect and balance. Considering the ocean's role in keeping us all alive, you would think that respect is a given, but levels of pollution of the ocean and overexploitation of its resources show this is not the case. Meanwhile, realizing a fine sense of balance is necessary if we're going to achieve Sustainable Development Goal 14, with its stricter of both conserving and sustainably using the ocean's resources. Halfway through the course of the Ocean Decade, it is our responsibility to ensure the call for ocean literacy is clearly heard in every corner of our world. We must convey to all the message that only through universal appreciation of the ocean's influence on life, and in turn our influence on the ocean's well-being, we will achieve the security we seek. I look forward to hearing the outcomes of the Ocean Literacy Conference in Venice. If all your efforts are driven by a high purpose dedicated to the ocean's well-being, I'm sure it will be remembered as a monument to our commitment to ocean science, to the reinvigoration of our efforts for ocean literacy, and to the global understanding of the ocean's centrality for life on this planet. I believe that an ocean-literate world is key to the achievement of both SDG 14 and all of the Sustainable Development Goals, whether it's human health or human wealth, whether it's ocean science or ocean finance, the source to sea ethos or the sustainable blue economy. Everything is connected. And it is scientific knowledge and universal access to such knowledge that will deliver us from our unsustainable ways. And I do believe, as evidenced by the consensus reached in recent multilateral environmental agreements, that there's now a wave of positivity in ocean action, a wave we must ride to ensure our planet's life support system is preserved for the sake of our grandchildren. Only through elevation of ocean literacy around the world can we achieve the ocean we want for the secure future we most certainly need for those who will come after us. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I close with an affirmation of the principle of intergenerational justice, with the principle of sustainability as its foundation, and by thanking you all for your commitment and passion.
Well, this is heartwarming, I would say, to have such a great ocean literacy advocate. But I think it also plays a great responsibility on all of us to take the torch from here to Nice throughout the next year. And Peter Thompson talked about a new wave of ocean action, and today we are here to celebrate another way to keep moving on ocean action. For me, the essence of ocean action is partnerships. And therefore, I give the floor to Magdalena Landri, Director of the UNESCO Regional Bureau for Science and Culture in Europe, to announce a new exciting chapter.
Good afternoon, everyone. Many of you have seen this morning in Palazzo Zorzi. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honored and delighted to announce an exciting new chapter in UNESCO's mission to foster mutual understanding and respect for our planet, as we unveil a strategic and formidable new partnership with the Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli sailing team ahead of the 37th America's Cup. The Luna Rossa team exemplifies teamwork, strategic prowess, and a commitment to the marine environment. Together, with a shared mission for sustainability, we aim to inspire and educate using the medium of sailing. We will engage new audiences around the importance and urgency of establishing a more harmonious relationship with our ocean. As the Director General of UNESCO, Audrey Azoulay, has said recently, through the Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli boat, it is the protection of the ocean that will participate in the America's Cup. It is a wonderful way to strengthen the partnership between UNESCO and the Prada Group on ocean education. The UNESCO logo will proudly adorn the sails of the Luna Rossa boat, alongside that of our joint project, Sea Beyond, and it will remind people around the world of the critical importance of ocean conservation and education. We look forward to setting sail on this journey, confident that together we'll make great strides towards a healthier ocean and a brighter future. And we also wish all the best and hoping for the win. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
As you can see, from today on, the UNESCO and the Sea Beyond logos are going to be put on the sails of Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli boat. And for this, I would like to, first of all, ask a comment from Massimiliano Sirena, Team Director.
Well, good evening, everyone. And I'm actually honored and pleased to represent the team and be as a team ambassador of UNESCO and Sea Beyond. I think is what we call our office every day where we are going out on the water. So we really close to the ocean, and we really work every single day to try to promote and educate a new generation, especially to try to understand how critical is the situation at the moment worldwide, and how important is the ocean on our personal life every day. So I think it's a good way to spread the message out through this beautiful boat and during such an important event like the America's Cup in a few months' time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Magda, you already mentioned the importance of strengthening the partnerships, but could you please tell us a bit more? What does it mean also for UNESCO to have this new chapter of our partnership?
Yes, as you also already mentioned, Francesca, partnerships are crucial to our action. Obviously, the more we are, the more we can do, the more visibility we have, the better we are heard. And it's beneficial, I think, to all sides. We, as UNESCO, we bring this capacity, the knowledge, and then we rely on partners in transmitting this our knowledge. And in case of Luna Rossa, in particular, this is our outlet through sports, addressing also youth and being visible and known. And obviously, America's Cup will be an ideal outlet for that. And then I think, in general, a partnership of this kind brings the action closer to people, closer to communities, closer to those who raises awareness of our purpose, of the ocean literacy, of the sustainability, of preserving the ocean. So,
thank you, Magda. And now I'm happy to give the floor to Lorenzo Bertelli, who is. I take this opportunity to also thank him for the support to the Sea Beyond project, and asking him also to comment this new chapter of our collaboration, and maybe also to tell something more about your connection with the ocean.
Yeah, no. First of all, thank you. I think today is important because, okay, I'm wearing the hat of Prada. That for sure is the biggest financer of Sea Beyond project. But today, on top with our other partners, also we are super happy that UNESCO has chosen also the boat. I think this beautiful boat to spread this message. And with the help of Max and the team, they will be able to work with the local communities and to those younger generation that have lived there in those local communities. So now in Barcelona, when they're gonna go back in Cagliari, to really work with kids and young students and child of those communities, invite them, visit our environment, their offices. That is much better than mine. and really try to make them appreciate the environment and really make them passionate of how much is important to curate their future interests and that is the ocean, that is the single most important element of the world that we need to curate and address, and thanks with UNESCO that will help us develop all those programs for different age group. And so without the support of UNESCO, their competencies, their knowledge, and their contact with all our partners that are helping us, so what we've done so far with all our partners, you will see later, you will see also tomorrow, is fundamental for the success, because at the end we need three key elements. We need content to be spread around, we need, and then we need also the audience that for sure is there, but also we need to work closely with the public entities. And so far, I think this is a great example of how private and public sector can work together in spreading this message to the future generation. And I think, unfortunately, there is not always shortcuts to achieving such kind of goal. And so we want to really look forward and invest in the real future of our world.
Thank you very much, Lorenzo. And you're also, as I mentioned before, a patron of the Ocean Decade Alliance. So would you like to tell us, how do you see your role?
I think, first of all, I'm honored to be patron of the Ocean Alliance and to have this not weight, but this responsibility for all of us and for UNESCO as well. And so I will keep doing what I was doing. So really trying to spread these messages, really trying to reach as much as possible more people and influence the behavior of people, doesn't matter the age group, with a particular focus with See Beyond to the future generation. So for me, it's just, you know, something that tells me that what I was doing is right, and I'm gonna keep doing it, and also I'm excited about that, and I would like really to share this excitement with the people that will address with us this topic.
Thank you very much. And now I would like to go back to Max and ask him, why do you think it's important that we are going to use, between brackets, using the America's Cup and Luna Rossa to spread the message on ocean education, especially with the youngest?
Well, I think this new evolution of type of boat is bringing in way more younger generation and people following the America's Cup. I mean, everyone now wants to follow. My son is an example. He doesn't want to go back to old type of sailing boat. So I think with this cup in Barcelona, we will have a lot of young people coming, and I think as a team, as a sportsman, and we have quite an important responsibility for our environment. And I think sport is one of the only, or let's say, one of the few way to communicate and to spread out important message for the community, which it doesn't have to be too complex and difficult to understand. I think we need to just display and show how a simple change in our life could change the environment we are living, because at the end we are the customer of our future, and it's really up to us to decide what we want in the future. So I think through Luna Rossa and through the event in Barcelona, we're going to promote this message, and we already start even before today to communicate in that way through events and through clinics we are doing with school and sailing school, yacht club, and during open day at the base. And I think it's important to understand it's not just a marketing thing, but there is something true and really. So we need to take this day, this announcement as an important day for the future, because again we're not going to have much time left, and I think people still understand. It doesn't really understand the fact the Earth will survive. We will be in trouble. So I think it's up to us to understand that.
Thank you. That's a key point, because throughout this morning we were actually saying that the problems that we are facing are not ocean problem, are humans' problems, and we created the problem, and now it's up to us to find the solution. And Lorenzo, our See Beyond project is about education for young people and for very young people. And is there something about our See Beyond project that is dear to your heart, or that you would like to tell to the audience?
Yes, for sure. Now, since 8 months ago, I became father and I have a daughter, I feel even more these responsibilities, I think, because I really want to have a better future for her, and so I'm even close touched by those topics, and I felt this when I was a kid. I always say that the story that when I started to be touched by global warming and environmental changes has been when I was a kid, and there was I remember one winter there was a completely lack of snow, and it was never happened before and was super strange. And so I remember when I was a kid, I couldn't play. what I was expecting to play during my winter holiday. And so, in my opinions, to take away the opportunity for our kids to play is the worst things you can do, you know. So in my opinion, I always say that we have to see in that way. So we have to protect the future of the environment, because otherwise we're gonna take away somehow the opportunity to future generation, to our kids to play, you know, and their sons to play. So I think it's also simple as that. So, and for me it was very touching back in the day, and I realized that at the end was something very, very close to me. And so this is why I think this project is important, because also we want to inspire with also the brand, of course, Prada, and with this project, and we are happy if anybody will do the same with their project. We are not jealous at all to really inspire this, because at the end, in my opinion, for me, is really kind of keep giving the opportunities to future kids to being able to play, don't think about problem that they should not think about it when they're gonna be older.
And this morning we talked about our Kindergarten of the Lagoon project, and I know that, as you said, you just became father, and we are taking, these kids from the Venice Lagoon out in nature, because we think that, this connection with nature can really inspire them. And what is your take about this project of the kindergarten? And I know also tonight there is going to be a special event, and maybe you would like to say a few words about that.
I think like the kindergarten was like looking back to myself, in the sense that at the end they were super happy, they were laughing, they were playing with their friends, they were enjoying the day in open air, and was super happy. It was just a super happy day for them, and for us that are even adults, was inspiring that happiness, and what I'm saying, we should give them the opportunity to smile and play, and inspire us as adults in doing whatever is possible to protect their future. So I think this is a bit the sense of the responsibility. And I think nothing is, I think even if you have a bad day, I'm sure that whoever has a kind of a daughter or son, when they go back to home, I think the happy faces of your kids is always the most beautiful things, And so I remember when I was a kid that I couldn't play with the snow, I was really sad. So I don't want to be the parents in the face of those kids that couldn't play with the snow, So.
Thank you very much. And just to remember that tonight we're going to have the premiere of the documentary on the Kindergarten of the Lagoon. So we have been talking a lot about this project, and tonight you're going to have the chance to somehow meet those kids that have lived that experience with us last year and this year, and hopefully over the next years. And to go back to Max, I know that you have a youth team as well in Luna Rossa. Can you tell us a bit more why you are sort of investing in the younger generation?
Well, because the young generation, they are representing the future, so we need to invest in them. For the next America's Cup, we will have two teams, the youth and the women team involved as well. And I think it's a great opportunity for them to enter in this world, and I think they're going to be pretty important to actually talk the same language of the young generation. So they're going to have a quite a big responsibility to try to spread out the message we want to send out, and for me, I mean, we invest as a Luna Rossa for ages, since day one, in young generation, and actually thanks to that I'm here today, And I really hope there will be a lot of new people coming on board, and we are keeping investing in all the department. Sorry for my voice, I don't know. I lost the voice a few weeks ago, and it doesn't want to come back. And again, I think it's important in such a big team like us, we are more than 120 people, to bring new eye and people without the know-how bag, what I call it, no? So they're coming with a fresh mind, and they're pretty important when we are doing a strategic meeting or when we are coming up with new idea to explore. Because at the end, our goal is to try to win as much races as possible. So it's important to have different eye watching us coming from outside.
Thank you. And I think we will now dream.
I just want maybe to add one quick thing, that we always talk about like on this probably young people, future generation, then it feels like older people has to be trashed away. So. But what I would say that the most important things that I've seen is that it's not just a matter of messages for young or child or adults or older people. I think there is nothing stronger than the connection and the relationship we can build between the younger generation and the more mature generation, the older generation, because I can ensure that I never see smiles in the faces of my parents and my father and my mother like they seen my doctor. And so I think like there is such value in creating this sense of connection between the younger generation and the old generation. And sometimes we talk often about young or old people. Instead, in this case, I think there is even much more value in putting them in conversation between each other. And I think there is also a lot of positive message for older generation that they can somehow have a kind of second opportunity or second life, let's say.
Very good point. And I think we need to highlight this intergenerational dialogues and discussion. And now I think we can dream all together with Luna Rossa with a beautiful video. So Magda, would you like to say a few concluding words?
No, just again to say that we are extremely happy about this collaboration, this partnership, and to see our logo on the sails. Definitely something that we believe in, and really want to, as I think this whole conference testifies to that, the importance that the ocean literacy, the education, the preservation of marine environment is important to us. Just one thing to add to this generational gap, or not, bridging the generational gap. It's not only that everybody benefits, but I think those kids that when we raise awareness among the kids, they actually raise awareness among their parents. They come back home and they share the message, and all of a sudden the others around them discover that there is something happening, that there is something to be done. With this, I think all is left for me is to yet again cross fingers for the sales. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. thank you all, and looking forward to bring ocean protection to the America's Cup. Okay, so we will restart discussing the Venice Declaration. I think we are all energized now. I think we all felt going through the ocean with Luna Rossa. So we will continue discussing the Venice Declaration, and I think it's important to say that through sports, to art, as we say, to music, we can really bring our messages even farther, even beyond, those normal, circles where we work with. I also would like to say that the CBON project is, as Lorenzo was saying, is a project that promotes ocean education, but in a way, in the way in which we are, discussing and making it evolving as a concept. So not only ocean education for kids, for schools, but really moving beyond the walls of the schools. And I hope again that through examples like the one of Luna Rossa, we can bring our message and engage more people, because that's one of my obsessions. And those who knows me know that my obsession is to how do we reach the people that are not in this room? Because the people in this room are convinced, are advocates, are passionate already about the what we do, but we need to make an extra effort to reach those who are not in this room with us. Okay.
Here we are, back in action.
Back to our adorable Cristina.
Thank you. Okay.
And our adorable Nicola.
Yes, Nicola, thank you so much. Okay, now. Oh, no. Okay, yes, here we are. So let's keep the mood and the participation alive, because it's been wonderful to have your contribution, and we actually have to keep that sense of urgency because we only have 1 hour to discuss the remaining 5 points, and also to kind of envision how we will bring the declaration into the world. So, raise awareness of the inextricable link between ocean health, human well-being, and climate change, which demands immediate attention and decisive action. We must confront the impact of human behavior as a regenerative force and as a destructive one. Advocating for policies that mandate regenerative practices is paramount. So I feel like we're disturbing what's happening in the second part of the room. I'm really sorry about that.
Shall I yell at them? Shall I use my teacher voice?
No, but I could. Can I ask the people who are sitting in the back to move forward so the two moments can coexist peacefully? Thank you very much. So I don't know where the microphone is, but you have one.
I have one.
So Nicola,
let's see if this one. What about this one too?
So who has comments on this? Because it's the principle of interdependence, and which is obvious to everyone in the room. But
we have somebody. Here we go. Some wonderful person here. Here we go.
Hi, Matteo Yacht for Ocean. I really like this point, but I think there are two main things that I would like to point out. First, I don't really like, me personally, the word inextricable, because it sounds like too complicated. Maybe like it's difficult to find the solution because it's so inextricable that it's actually, so maybe I will replace it with something more easy, like complex, that still makes the point, but is not that, negative. So maybe more positive.
I agree with you. Inextricable is a mouthful. We can't even really properly say it, can we? So.
And the second, I think, is more that it's true that we need like this, like immediate action. But what about the long-term action? Because we always have to offer something. I mean, for my personal experience, I work in Colombia, and we have some local communities. We usually go there, and our what made us change is that once we went, like, the very first contact with this community was like, we, like white European people, and they're indigenous people. And then we were just there saying, this is not right, because like in some places they are still fishing with dynamite, and of course we all know that it's not good, but they've been doing that for many generations. And so we can say, okay, maybe if you stop fishing with dynamite, we can restore your coral reefs, and then in 10 years, 15 years, you can live out of the reefs. You can, think of a more sustainable future, a more sustainable option. So.
And that's a really important point you make. For example, in agriculture, tilling, if you take a farmer who's 60 years old, he will say, what do you mean? It's the way to kill. And so,
exactly.
And now that we know that we want low tillage, it's very hard. So I guess that's an important point. I guess it would be called lifelong learning or something about really empowering people who have been...
Keeping an eye on the long-term success of any restoration or any effort.
Yeah, and I guess that's where science really informs action today.
Yeah, exactly.
We know so much more. So I guess, Paula, it could be something like, may the science communities inform traditions. On one hand, we have a lot to learn, but we also do have a lot to share. So I guess someone was raising the point about a really active dialogue. So it's a give and take. It's a learn and listen. Listen, maybe might be a key word.
I also don't like the way the first sentence is structured. So I agree with him with the word complex. And I would like changes like raising awareness of the complex link between ocean health, human well-being, and climate change demands immediate attention and decisive action. I don't like the which, I think it would be more direct and more clear.
Yeah. And I think interdependence is probably one key word that we could put here.
So I'm back with plastic pollution,
Yes.
and I think here, of course, could be a place where we could add.
Yes.
And also, I didn't see the word biodiversity in the entire declaration.
Really? Okay.
And I think it could be important, maybe, the biodiversity well-being.
It's fundamental, absolutely. And it's also, sadly, one of the weaker elements of the 2030 agenda. So I guess that, we had so many words that in the reduction process, some key ones got lost, but this is why we're here. Any other comments on this
We
point?
have someone at the back here. I think his name is Ronaldo.
Go for it, Nicola.
As my suggestion is not anything on the point, but if it's a possibility of merging two of them, because in this one we see raising awareness about the main topics of the ocean, and that is important in action, but it's the awareness. The topic 9, 2 after, you'll be disseminate an inclusive multimedia campaign. And a campaign needs some topics. And the topics will be ocean health, ocean climate. So I'm wondering if actually we are talking, both are the same thing. Because when we have a very successful inclusive multimedia campaign for an ocean-literated society will need to understand the human behavior and so on, everything that's written there. So
I fully agree. I think we're talking about maybe different recipients. So I think of a campaign as being addressed to the general public, while I think this is more within the circle of, educators and people, but, definitely to be considered.
Thank you. My name is Dr. Taiba. I'm the face of UN SDG 14, Life Below Water in Kenya. And I'm interested to know more about when you state advocating for policies. In Kenya, you could be having a global policy, but it's not implementable at the local communities. So is it possible for us to maybe add advocating for policies and support required, so that that policy can be adapted to local context, if need be?
Sorry, repeat how you would word it? Policies
advocating for policies and support required.
And support required, or policies at all level. I mean, we've heard that a number of times today, unfortunately. some policies and frameworks, don't trickle down into the systems as we would like that to happen. And that's a control issue, to go back to one of the very meaningful passages that we had this morning. So
we have somebody here who
Yep.
hasn't said anything
Oh,
yet,
wait,
I don't think.
Okay.
Hi, I am Elisa Banchi from OGS Trieste. I just have a suggestion on the second line. I would extend the human well-being to whole life on the planet. So
Yes, I think this is a point that's come up also previously. We don't want to be too anthropocentric. I think we want to be honoring life in all forms. So yes, thank you very much.
Hello. I love seeing regenerative in there, but we're also still talking about sustainable development. So maybe a nod to moving beyond sustainability or sustainable development towards regenerative, because some people are different places on the spectrum.
It's absolutely a point. I've been trying to get out of the sustainability word for over a decade, and then it always has to be like, but what we mean is. So yes, you've got a point. Someone raised their hand. Who did? No one?
Oh.
No?
Hello.
I'm seeing hands. Oh, there you go.
Whenever we are talking about regeneration, I feel restoration is equally important.
Yes, and that point was made. Also reparation, restoration, and regeneration. Those are really the three R's. We're way beyond recycling and reusing. I think those are, they act on also on the holistic level of, what we call sustainable development. It has to involve society, economy, and the environment. So I guess that maybe we could pack those all in.
Yeah, and also, we are still, there is a whole part on this planet, the whole other world, which is severely disconnected.
Mm-hmm.
And we are not mentioning anywhere that disconnection. And reconnect.
Okay, so regenerate, restore, repair, and reconnect.
Yes.
Is that too many words, or do people agree that we want to see them all in this? No? Okay. Paula, do you have that? Great.
Somebody here. Hello, I'm behind you.
Hi, I'm Kira Coley, Head of Communications at Ocean Census. I understand the use of demand, but I'm just wondering if maybe empower might be a better word, because you're raising awareness about the link between ocean health, human well-being, and climate change, which empowers immediate attention and decisive action.
Mm-hmm. Empowers instead of demand, yes. Thank you. I mean, that gets into, we had a debate about this. We want, we ask, we demand, and so, but demand and empower, or, I mean, what I'm learning is that one has to really raise a voice. I can't, are you looking to say something? No? Okay, wonderful. Okay, so we have a whole string of words that have added on to this. Are we all happy with this? You pass the mic. Thank you.
I mean, I think I completely understand what's meant with demand, immediate attention and action, and I agree with it, but I think some people and some movements might latch onto demanding immediate action before the science is really clear. So, I mean, there's a bit of stuff going on at the moment with OCDR where we've got people just saying, we just need to ignore the science, or like move on with it, and we'll, so it's, I know it's really being
It's happening at all
nitpicky,
levels.
but
So some things, exactly, we can go to those simple actions that, we've mentioned ocean cleanups today. I mean, those are really simple things that we know are important. We know that there's a host of behavioral change that is ready to just come into action. Then we know about the complexity. I was reading the other day that taking CO2s out of the atmosphere is acidifying the oceans faster. So you're like, oh, okay. So, I mean, it's really hard to go right. But I think that we have enough of a wide baseline of action that really does need to happen urgently.
Absolutely, but I don't know if we could add like a word in there, decisive, scientifically, or science-based action, maybe, or
Yeah, so to make the two coexist.
Just
so I guess it could be bottom-up solutions and science-based solutions.
Yeah.
Paula?
Not quite decided on the wording.
Poor Paula needs 4 hands here. No, not instead of action. So it could be bottom up. Yeah, well then we'll tweak the wording, but
and definitely still,
we're
yeah,
talking
decisive
about
action still, but it just needs to be
no, it's
based
two
on
different
evidence
things.
And yeah.
But to repeat, there's a lot that's based on evidence that hasn't happened yet, and a lot of evidence that needs to be created for things that are happening, and we may make mistakes. I mean, I was really surprised, I don't know if anyone else was, to learn that taking CO2 out of the atmosphere acidifies the oceans.
No, I'm just saying those are mistakes that can be avoided.
They're part of the process.
You know,
be avoided?
So I think people know that, and by rush, and I'm not saying don't act now, I'm completely for acting now, but I do think with certain things there's a risk of mistakes are made.
You know what, this is a symposium in itself. The same mistake was made with biofuels. So we can't go there now, but it's a really interesting topic, and that's where I think that this framework has to inform conversations happening in each country and each location that factors in all this complexity. But this has to be a fairly simple paper. Sorry, there's a question up here.
Hi, I'm Naka from the Economist Group. Quite a few people pointed out the word inextricable link. I wonder if it's too much to say symbiotic relationship, because it is an existential issue that we're facing. And rather than saying it's inextricable or complex,
symbiotic is quite spot on. You're absolutely right.
I think it's
it's true.
Yeah,
It's
I think that's
simply
what
true.
we need to be aware of. And the second point is we talk about immediate attention and decisive action, but that just talks about the chronological, the immediate and action. We don't talk about what sort of approach, what sort of immediate attention is more preferable. And I think a systemic approach is crucial. So if we can incorporate that somewhere, I think that would be valuable.
I fully agree with you. Systemic approach is fundamental, and it can be informed then locally, but I think the coexistence of bottom-up and scientific, based is crucial. Symbiotic is too much for most people. Agreed. Okay. Inseparable. Well, then why don't we go back to deeply interconnected, or which is, you're right. I mean, it does take. Okay.
Hang on, we've got a communication person here.
Yes, exactly. We want to hear your...
I would actually remove the adjective altogether. Make it really simple. Make the test. I would raise awareness of the link between planetary health and human well-being, which demands immediate action. And I would leave it at that.
You know what?
It's got all the...
You're right. Otherwise, we could debate for hours on all the terms, or, Agreed? Yes? Yes, thank you. Okay, should we go on to the next? Will I get this right? Yes. Okay, the key word here is resilience. Support resilience programs through proper education, funding, and policy. Ocean literacy is a framework that can empower vulnerable communities to teach what they learn from direct experience. Indigenous and local communities must be empowered as pivotal partners, and we must actively promote diversity, equity, and inclusion in all our efforts. It's interesting, now that we're going through this process, I'm like, do we need proper in there? I mean, isn't it a given that it be proper education? Should we replace that and maybe keep the space for another word? Resilience programs, I think, is really the key. We all need to be developing resilience. It could almost be leave it empty and everyone write their own, response, but Pierre. We got Pierre in the
Maybe more a question. If you Google on the internet, I'm sure that you find people working on resilience literacy in a wider sense. So I think maybe there's to play around the term of whether you support resilience programs and you strengthen its ocean components, but not make us believe that it's us driving resilience. You know, that's maybe some balance to be found there, to make sure that other communities don't get slightly upset by some of our actions and recommendations.
But I think resilience is like one of the key words that we all can interpret and incorporate. And that's where what you're saying leads me back to, the portal of portals. It would be so important to have everyone's work included here. There's so many amazing things that are happening globally, so we would probably only have to learn, but resilience is fundamental for us all moving forward. No, now I see hands coming up where even when they're not coming up, so sorry.
Here we go, we've got somebody here.
I've got somebody here too. Okay, you want to go first? Yep.
Hello, hi. My name is Michelle, and I'm a consultant. I'm from Indonesia, and I work a lot with indigenous people in Indonesia. And it's really interesting this point, and I just want to give some suggestion. Maybe when it's related to indigenous people, I would suggest to not just use empowered, but also like involvement or participation, because it's also important to hear their voice. And not just being like a partner, but also like the source of the voice, something like that. I don't know. So yeah, yes. That's what I think.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. And it's listening, active listening. I mean, we have so much to learn. And that's where we had a long conversation about this. It does not, so if it sounds preaching or, that we want to avoid sounding colonizing in any way. And, I think this is all about listening and learning. And it goes back to nature-based solutions and scaling those and funding those. So, okay, so this is where I will bring in a comment that was made by an anthropologist. I will add one thing for us to consider going forward, the need not only for inclusion, but restorative justice in ocean literacy, to reveal and document those narratives and histories that have been omitted or not fully documented or related. Histories of crossings across the Mediterranean that led to cultural exchanges, the Atlantic slave trade and creolizations, and the cultural innovations and globalized histories that emerged in the Indian Ocean region. I think inclusion doesn't do justice fully. It's also about readdressing its historical accounts. So that opens a very complex page of reparation, as we were saying before. So either we consider reparation as being the word that really addresses this very complex page, or open to suggestions that we have to contain, because we have to get to the end of the, I'm sorry, this is terrible. I could go on for hours, as is probably clear to everyone, but we have a time limit.
I'll be really quick. Sarah Schettinger from the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's Office of Education. Just responding to a comment that was made earlier about, I think you made it, about proper education, which I would agree with trying to strike that word. Partially because I've heard a number of comments throughout the whole day about that we're not just talking about proper can mean like formal, and some people might not know what that means anyway. And then we're talking about the breadth of both non-formal and formal education here. So that would be my recommendation.
So you think that proper does it or doesn't do it?
Does not do it.
Okay,
I would just, I don't think it adds anything.
Also because in between spaces is where people are going to be writing their own narratives, their own solutions, their own stories. Let's allow that freedom to happen.
We've got somebody here. Here we go.
Thank you. I'm Donata from OGS, Italy. I'm a research scientist, and what I see here, there are two very relevant concepts that are support to resilience and using and promoting local knowledge. I will suggest to focus more on the second part, so the local knowledge, and instead putting resilience not only here, but also in other parts, because resilience is something that is promoted not only in this case, but also in general by ocean
Absolutely,
literacy
and climate change
policy
yeah,
and
yeah.
everything. So I will suggest to focus here more on promoting knowledge, local
from
knowledge
local
too.
And thank you for raising the point that I don't think we have to be afraid to repeat some key words in different points. I think we were trying to avoid that, but probably not.
Thank you. I just wanted to highlight the concept of from direct experience. I think we could say for them to teach and share their lived experiences, because these are experiences that they have been having for thousands of years, to share those lived experiences. But also, when, especially if we want this to apply for Africa in that context, you're talking about indigenous, local, and coastal communities. For us, those are like 3 different communities. So it will be very important to have indigenous, local, and coastal communities.
Okay, yes, thank you. So indigenous, comma, local, comma, and coastal communities. Absolutely. I don't know, I think direct and lived are synonyms, but, you know, open to subject, I think that might be a subjective response, but definitely it's knowledge in action. I think that's really what we're trying to say.
Just had a comment from somebody that actually this oh, thank you. She's a professional. This whole point actually doesn't quite make sense and is a bit difficult to understand. So, and I can see that, you know, if you're a policy maker, you know, this is going to go to all sorts of different people. Does support resilient programs through proper education, funding and policy, does that make sense? I think we might need to make the language a bit more plain here.
Really? I mean, to me it makes sense. I mean, but, okay, disruptive at this hour of day, but yes, of course, we need to go through this process.
Yeah. Oh, hello.
Just I was looking more closely, and it seems like it's talking about trying to do 2 different things.
Yes.
The first part is actually talking about resilience, and then the second part is talking about the Jedi issues that we already talked about before. And it's trying to I see where it's going, because it's saying these indigenous communities need to be resilient in order to withstand what's coming. But, and yeah, I think that it needs to be centered around one of these ideas, and perhaps either it has to be really about how ocean literacy can play a role in building resilience, and in this case, you know, the mention on indigenous and local communities can be reduced as one example of such resilience. But that could apply to coastal communities as well. That can apply to all sorts of communities. So,
yeah, I think they're both recipients and they're also contributors. I mean, they are the most. Those states or communities that are deeply affected also develop solutions that the rest of the world can adopt. I mean, they're faced with the urgency. So I do see it as I don't know, to me it does kind of I think it makes sense with the tweaking that we've discussed so far. But we can go back to it. Any other burning comments before we go to the next point?
Oh, hang on, here we go.
Sorry, just very quickly. I think a couple more words which we might need to consider as well around, I think this is building on a couple of comments earlier, around the partnership areas, kind of co-developing or co-leading with these communities. So I don't think empowered as pivotal partners is quite enough. I think it needs to be co-developed with these communities.
You're absolutely right, and it simplifies the wording. By saying co-developed, we can easily remove the empowering and the pivotal partners, because it says it all. Absolutely, very good point. Paola, do you need help? I feel like I'd like to double myself. Okay. Someone's going to have to say, be a timekeeper. For the next one, perfect.
If we are done.
But thank you, that's a really important point.
Thank you. So you mentioned in the first part to choose a topic that speaks to our heart.
Yes.
And I will allow myself to make a contribution for many reasons. So I'm an architect. I am also a member of the Underwater Cultural Heritage Steering Committee in the Honor Frost Foundation, and a member of ICOMOS, so International Council on Monuments and Sites. So this is a topic that's been with me for many years, and I will allow myself to make a few contributions. So I have a 4-point contribution.
So wait, no, to you the honor of reading it first,
yes,
and then you can contribute.
Safeguard the wealth of marine cultural heritage, encompassing both tangible and intangible aspects. The preservation of this legacy is essential for the long-term health and sustainability of our ocean. A reimagined approach is required, one that empowers coastal communities as rightful stewards and recognizes their rights and wisdom. It is imperative that we prioritize community-centered approaches to protecting marine cultural heritage, ensuring that this rich legacy forms an integral part of a more sustainable ocean future. So, I'll start with my first point. I'm very happy that you mentioned tangible and intangible aspects. I might add a point that could be redundant for people from the field, but for people who are not from the field, that might be essential. So coastal and submerged heritage.
Yeah.
Because when people talk about marine heritage, sometimes we think of shipwrecks.
Also, we have SDG 14, life underwater.
Exactly.
I don't think anyone's really connected.
Exactly. So for me, it's redundant, but for someone who comes from
absolutely.
outside, perhaps also add coastal and submerged. The second point is, we talked about safeguarding, and if we're going to follow the UNESCO Convention on Underwater Cultural Heritage, the next step would be promote. Why are we safeguarding? So yes, we are safeguarding, okay, they are there. We are safeguarding it to promote it.
Yep.
So I would add promote. The third point, after promoting, why are we promoting? So what does cultural heritage have that adds to natural heritage? And in my opinion, it's identity. It's social cohesion. So safeguard and promote to rebuild an identity, to promote social cohesion. I will let you do the right thing. The fourth point that might be a bit political, and maybe it's personal to me, thinking that heritage is a way to bypass conflict. So the ocean across cultures and years have been a platform of exchange. Recently, they are a battlefield. So maybe add this dimension to bypass, to avoid, to, I don't know, get away from conflict. So to sum up, I think safeguard, promote, rebuild identity, and bypass conflict. Thank you. Sorry for the long contribution.
No, it's beautiful. I mean, I hate to say that the conflict is because of all the precious resources that are under the water and that everyone wants to get to. I mean, it's that simple. But then I was also thinking earlier about the power of mythology, for example, and so I guess that comes in with just the cultural heritage, but there's so much wealth there that, you know, if people could be reminded.
But it's a common heritage.
Yes, absolutely.
I think I'll probably just be adding to a few of your points. So I'm Hannah, I'm doing a PhD in marine cultural heritage, so I think that was really well put, and a lot of the stuff I wanted to say actually. No, perfect, like it's a good jumping off point. I also wanted to add, so you said safeguard, preserve, protect, but I think also, obviously you kind of added promote in there, which I think was great. And I think we've talked a lot about like experiences and education, and I really think that that has a place here as well. So people being able to like experience their own kind of marine cultural heritage and be educated in it, not just to preserve and protect, you know, as if it's a thing in the past.
Experience, thank you, very good point.
It's like a living heritage, it's a living thing, and it's always changing as our perceptions change of it. And another point I wanted to make was also maybe to actually emphasize the interconnectedness of culture and nature here. I think marine cultural heritage is often seen as its own kind of not connected kind of theme, but actually, obviously, everything really plays into each other, and the whole ocean literacy concept really is marine cultural heritage. So in that sense, I think also, yeah, it would be good to include something about the interconnectedness with nature.
And interconnectedness between cultures and breaking the silos of knowledge, and that goes back to the big challenge of trying to really work on a transdisciplinary approach. So, yeah, okay.
Thank you very much. I'm a social scientist, and from the social scientist perspective, we have this thing that we call scientific deficit. And when you look at, we've mentioned about coastal communities, I said it and I'm going to say it again and again. And I love the fact that I'm into this space and I'm able to speak for those people that cannot say,
Yes.
yeah, we also need to be there. Because the African Agenda 2063 with the African Blue Economy Strategy talks about these 3 different communities as different communities. If you want to address the ocean, then they have to know that they are also part of it, be it coastal, local, indigenous. They both have to be there for them to know that if you mention only coastal communities, then it means me as a local community, I'm not part of this kind of thing. As an indigenous person, I'm not part of it. So I would say if it would be great to like just have a mention of the 3 of them rather than mentioning one and leaving the others behind. Thank you.
So do you think that coastal communities and waterways, the word waterways is missing in this, and all waterways are connected. I don't think we can disregard rivers, and so should we add waterways somewhere? Would waterways do it? Yeah?
Potentially in the introduction.
Yeah, but I mean, if thinking of policy, because so much needs to happen at the level of rivers and all water basins, aquifers.
Yeah. But we could say in the when we say ocean, we where's she gone? There she is.
Yeah, yeah. But then think of these points traveling without the introduction.
Okay. Yeah. True. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So let's take on that challenge. I mean, we can put it here. Waterways. I think it can go in any point.
Yeah.
Again, we will have to repeat some keywords.
Yeah.
Should we go on to the next?
Here you go. Here you go.
Yeah, I think here we are talking about the ocean, right? And if we are referring to the ocean, we have communities that are like 500 kilometers or 1,000 kilometers away from the ocean, and they feel that the things that, for example, if you're talking about ocean climate, it's happening to the ocean, and they feel like it doesn't affect them. So if we really want them to be a part of this, then we have to co-design or co-create scenarios, I can say, scenarios that, make them understand that ocean climate affects coastal communities, it affects you as a local community, it affects you also as an indigenous community. It doesn't mean that you have to stay next to the ocean for you to be affected by the things that are happening. So I just think we can just mention the 3 communities and not, mention like waterways, because that takes us to like a different kind of direction, if that makes sense. Thank you.
I think it can work in either way, but I think it's really important. As you were talking, I was thinking maybe one could say the key line with Buzzline is the ocean affects you whether you live by it or very far from it. But maybe that could go into the introduction.
Maybe a way to reduce, like to mention all these individual, in this case, like the 3 types of communities everywhere. Maybe we can also make them a separate point, saying
an asterisk that says when we refer to, we mean. That's a very good point. And also the same for all the repeating words. When we say resilience, we mean it across the world.
And asterisk maybe even also undervalues it, but maybe making it even as one of the 10 points, saying, okay, affected and involved and co-creating communities are the same. Also like water, when we speak of ocean, we speak of ocean and the waterways leading into the ocean, or
kind of like a glossary. I think that is a really important point. Because that way we don't make it too wordy a process, but there are some recurrent words that should go into probably every point. Okay, Paola, does that make sense to you? Poor Paola. It's like, yeah, sure. Okay. So this is the point that was suggested as possibly a merge, but I see this as addressed to the general public. Disseminate an inclusive multimedia campaign to advocate for the importance of an ocean literate society through an approach that facilitates engagement with a broad and diversified audience. This could be achieved with the support of trained ocean communicators, equipped with adequate scientific information and skilled in mediating scientific concepts, who can incorporate diverse knowledge systems and cultural heritage into ocean narratives. It's a bit wordier than it needs to be, but it's an important point. And
I think that's probably like the most operational of all the points, and I feel almost that apart from the fat print, it's almost a bit too prescriptive. I mean, yes, it's all valid, but on the level and the style of the rest, it completely falls out.
Yeah, I see your point. I do think that though there's so many gaps in knowledge. I mean, there's so many people who communicate with broad audiences and they have no idea what they're saying. It happens at the level of corporations, of media, everywhere. So maybe that's why it was so prescriptive. I wish I could toss
I'm kind of wondering if the term campaigning is maybe too weak, because maybe we are looking for a more global crowd of the wisdom dissemination kind of format. And a campaign for me is a more centralized, more financed course of action for a certain period of time. So maybe, one can make this more general in saying utilizing multimedia for inclusive advocacy to strengthen the importance of ocean literate society. Then it leaves it more open and more possibility for different organizations to join in. A campaign is a closed shop, in a way.
I see the importance of both coexisting. I mean, again, we're at the bottom-up and top-down approach. Yeah, yes, we need, someone was saying today that AI is researching experiences, and I mean, not that, so all I'm saying is that I think both can coexist. We do need audacious campaigns, but we also need the rest. So maybe we could make it, we could add on. Oh, you took can you pass the microphone there?
Sorry, I'm in my own world looking at that.
Sorry, I didn't introduce myself earlier. I'm Amy. I'm from Plymouth Marine Laboratory in England. So it's more maybe a question, but by disseminate an inclusive multimedia campaign, do you mean there should be one that's global? Because
yeah, no, you're right. It needs to be plural.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because I think it's really difficult actually to make a campaign that is inclusive, that goes across the whole world.
I think you two are saying the same thing. So I think the word inclusive needs to leave that part, and it needs to be disseminate multimedia campaigns. And how do we define the bottom up?
I'm not even sure if I'd say
global and local.
I don't know if inclusive needs.
No, you're absolutely right.
I think that can stay in there because.
No, I don't know.
Because I don't know if it's meaning the same thing, but maybe inclusive needs to be somewhere else. But I just think that's you do need to highlight that it needs to be inclusive of the whole of everyone that you're trying to address. So if it's a campaign that's for people in cities, don't just have it directed at a certain type of people in cities. It should.
And if it were public, private, local, and global, I mean, we need, but then it becomes.
Yeah, the inclusive could move.
Maybe we can. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it has to be plural. That's for sure.
Can I? Yeah, I think we are missing. Oh.
When we thought about including inclusive, I remember we were thinking about people with different abilities. So, because if we leave that word out, it comes to a normal campaign. A multimedia campaign, yeah, using different media platforms, but are we really addressing all the people we need to address?
Okay, so I wonder if there's another word, because you're absolutely right. But if you're using sign language for those who can't hear, or what? Multisensorial, yes, I think is better than inclusive.
Can I?
Yeah?
Can I?
Yeah, sure,
okay.
sure.
So the idea maybe would be just to move the inclusive from this part and put it before approach, disseminate a multimedia campaign to advocate for the importance of an ocean literary society through an inclusive approach.
Yes, that makes sense. And I think that we want to maybe put multisensorial instead of inclusive up top. And
through a holistic approach.
Holistic approach. But I think that, do we all agree that the campaign is one thing, but that needs to have alongside a kind of a bottom-up approach or a...
I'm just wondering what you mean by multisensorial in this case.
Because it's for people who, who have physical impairments, so who can't hear or who can't see.
Okay.
In media, that's called inclusive, so that's fine.
In media, it is called inclusive, but then we have the inclusive. It's got a double. It's.
You have inclusivity on two levels. You have the media inclusivity and you have the topic inclusivity.
So you think it would be read on both levels? Okay.
We have someone here. Here we go.
Wait. Okay.
I think we're tripping up on all the words.
I think we're getting tired.
Right. So definitely, it needs to be. We need to lose the word "and" it needs to be multiple campaigns. But then, we say at the end a broad and diversified audience. That's covering inclusive. That's covering multisensorial.
Yeah, I think we're.
And if we thought inextricable was too complicated a word, multisensorial is like off the charts.
Okay. I fully agree.
I think now I read this now. I think we should even remove the whole unbolded bit of so the top bit's in bold font.
I think after Ocean Literate Society, we can unbold through an approach. Yes.
Yeah. Why? Yeah.
Okay.
I think we don't need that anymore.
I like an Ocean Literate Society. I think that's really effective.
I get lost, I think, but if we use approaches rather than approach, so it's plural, it's
yes,
not only
we
one.
need campaigns plural and approaches plural, yes.
Yeah, and maybe the words accessibility and not only inclusive, but to
But this is where I agree with our friend back here who says that when we're talking about broad diversified audience, we have it all. Okay. I think we're getting tired in the room. Okay, can I ask you all to follow the example of Vera's example and adopt one so that tomorrow morning you know that you're going to be giving voice to a point? Otherwise, you can't leave the room. Maybe we didn't tell you that.
This one is diverging from the discussion we had. I was wondering, where do sports fall into this? Because I think sports, physical sports, not just driving a boat, are a channel for ocean literacy. We talked about arts, and I don't know if sports, because as a diver, I think I'm one of the most interested people in having a healthy ocean. So I am an ambassador, sorry. So I don't know if it falls into this point or the next one, which is careers. So just raising this topic.
Because the next point is also the last point. Let's put everything in that we did not put in. We have to be practical here. Foster a sustainable ocean economy by promoting ocean literacy and maritime career training. We must invest in holistic education that bridges the gap between natural and social sciences and the humanities, as well as in targeted career training programs. This will build capacity among ocean professionals to shape an equitable, sustainable ocean economy while preserving ocean health. Yes, I think that it can be, sports, leisure, careers, sports and leisure.
Hello. So we already mentioned this, I think, earlier, but I think people sometimes have a very limited perspective of how many maritime careers there are.
Absolutely.
So I think this is an essential point. I don't
is.
know how to phrase it, but I think someone will.
I've been obsessed by this ever since, I've told a number of you. I saw someone 2 weeks ago who organized a program for youth. And I was amazed. I didn't know that, for example, there's a person who trains chefs to go on ships. I was like, duh, of course. But there's such a long string of citizen science, data collecting, boats, you know, I think that one thing that Luna Rossa really can do is data collection. You know, so yes.
And
yes,
there are
yes,
so many ways to help the ocean. You know?
Absolutely.
Even with AI, even with like, there are people now working with a bunch of like bioacoustics and species identification. And it was something that I've been coming across a lot, is people asking me, so can I get a job as a marine biologist or something? And people are always thinking about research,
Exactly.
but that's not the only thing.
No, not at all. And that's where, you know, I have a hard time in schools with students who are like, no, I'm not going to work for the ocean because I don't want to be a biologist. No, that's not the only opportunity you have. So I think that is the key point, but maybe we can factor in if we want to, do we want to treat sports as careers and jobs?
We've got somebody, maybe.
Okay, we have two people here.
Yeah, great.
Ladies first.
Thank you. I agree with Bernardo, and I would like to suggest a broader designation, like ocean-related career.
Yes.
Do you agree? Ocean-related career?
And activities, and that's where we throw in sports? No. Okay. Ocean-related careers.
Okay.
Oh, hang on. Oh, wait, sorry. Go. You go.
Okay. Thank you very much. I forgot to say at number 9, but totally really related to my opinion. That is very important to promote ocean literacy at grassroots engagement, doing that. But also governmental approach is very, very important. So I want to ask you to add some words of collaborating with each government at each country is very important to.
Okay, absolutely. And grassroots, I guess, is the way we can do multimedia campaign and grassroots, or multimedia and grassroots campaigns, so that we get a sense of both dimensions. Okay, back to this one. Okay, definitely I agree. The focus is on careers, on job opportunities. That's where we're working from the edges, and that's where kids, even just in a few days of exposure, can think, oh, I might want to do that in life. And they had no idea that existed. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we were just discussing here. I feel like we've tripped just a little bit, because the term that we have currently, which is like globally recognized by everybody, we are talking about the blue economy, and then we are introducing ocean economy. It's kind of, you know, confusing. Like, are we talking about the ocean economy? Because what we've been taught in school or by our government is been told that the ocean is under the blue economy, and it's blue economy, and this is what we are doing. So I don't know what is the difference?
I think it's jobs related to the ocean, which is more than just blue economy. I mean, if you're placing chefs on a ship, is that blue economy? Yes. Yeah. If you're
It is. Sustainable blue economy.
And blue economy. Okay. So by promoting ocean literacy, for foster a sustainable blue economy. So we're just Paola has. Oh, sorry. Paola, coming to you.
I'm Natalie. I'm from the Early Career Ocean Professionals Program, and we have a network of over 5,000 early career ocean professionals from 151 countries. So I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't say something about early career ocean professionals.
Thank you.
We've been talking about this a lot, and I have maybe 2 sentences that could bring that in.
Yes.
I try, empower and trust early career ocean professionals to lead initiatives to foster meaningful intergenerational dialogue and enhance their involvement within the decision-making processes, enable pathways and support for the next generation of ocean literacy professionals, experts, facilitators, co-creators of change to be an integral part of this movement.
Okay, the only word I might add is inform, because you are talking to people who are already informed. I have come across people who have no idea. So I think inform, and then can you send it to Paula so she can just cut it and paste it in her document before she goes mad. Sorry, she did have something to say.
Oh, while I'm here, I'll go. Oh, okay, right.
Oh, sorry,
Okay.
now we're competing, the two of us. Where are you?
I just want to give people the chance. Here
Well,
we go.
but can we give Paula's had her hand up?
No, but
Okay, go, Pierre.
I'm
It's
not sure
Pierre
it's-
against Paula.
yeah. So Pierre, you for Ocean. I'm not sure it's directly connected, and I don't know how to integrate in what is here. When we think about sustainable economy in a wide sense, in fact, we need a change in many, many more sectors than just what we define as the maritime sectors. When I use my mobile phone,
yeah,
I have an impact on the ocean. And I feel here it's a bit restrictive in a sense that value chains that are around marine products do not feel connected to the oceans. And a lot comes back to our consumption society at the end, and what we do when we buy, when we consume, that has in fact impacts on the ocean. So these people from value chain need also to start to be aware of the connections.
I think we add the word technology then, because of course it's it's the resources that are vital resources that are coming more and more from the oceans.
And maybe one general comment, but it's because I'm not sure exactly how we are going to discuss. When we do the declaration, if I read the 10 actions, a lot is towards the others. And sometimes I feel in the actions that we are proposing in our declaration, some will be, let's ask others to act, but what do we as an ocean literacy community commit to a change that will support the implementation? So the declaration is a bit, I send you this, but it's not enough. What do I commit to support you in making it happen?
Maybe it could be at the end of the introduction. We all commit to, something like that. Okay, we have Paola who has something to say, sorry.
Yeah, it is an answer to Shamin's comment, because in the very, very first version of this declaration, we mentioned blue economy, but then we receive comments from countries that they don't recognize blue economy. Even though there are many institutional frameworks and already policies established, but there are countries that, for them, blue economy doesn't exist, and they feel more comfortable to talk about ocean economy. So that's why we choose that word, just to have you, to give you the context.
Okay.
Hello. Okay. Good. It's Christian here from CTEACH, and yeah, I'm really happy to see this point here because in our organization we've been promoting blue economy jobs since 2019 in schools from the ground. So I've been doing that. I've been visiting schools, and the problem is that they're not interested. The problem is that they don't know about it. So I think what is missing here is the word guidance, maybe, and try to maybe even connect it with a point, the educational framework somehow. So the career counselors that are within the schools can connect to these maritime professions. And also, since we're also talking about keywords today, we could start maybe talking about blue skills.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So by promoting ocean literacy, blue skills, and because it is a matter of awareness. I mean, you can't want a career training unless you know that there is a career there. So informing and training could be something like that. Okay, sorry, we have...
Over here, this is Cosimo. I think that this is the only point in the declaration on which we have the word economy. So I thought that there was a pretty good job in avoiding this word. Huh? I'm not very sure that I like to have it here. Definitely, I do not like the word blue economy because it has a very precise meaning in Brussels and in Europe. And possibly, I think that what we meant here is that we want to promote or foster sustainability in ocean economy. And I will phrase it in that way. We do not want sustainable ocean economy. we want to be sure that people involved in a job related to the ocean have very clear this sustainability principle. And so maybe we can just say foster sustainability in maritime career training or sustainability in ocean economy or whatever you like. I mean, you are English
people need to
speaker.
be aware that there is a career ahead of them, and that's where I think there's a huge gap to fill. I think people are not aware. So that's where, I mean, the word economy, people go to school to then learn, you know, to prepare for the workforce. So that falls into the realm of economy. It's kind of a hard word to avoid, in my personal opinion, but, or livelihoods. Okay.
Hello, thank you. My name is Lucy Hunt. I'm a marine biologist and ocean impact director with the Ocean Race, which is around the world sailing race. I'm also co-chair of the Irish Ocean Literacy Network Education Working Group and founder of Sea Synergy Marine Awareness Activity and Research Centre in Ireland. And we've been involved in ocean literacy for a long time. And one of the things that we do as a round the world sailing race is have an ocean literacy program. But as we visit host cities around the world, we also cater for marine careers workshops where kids come in, normally youth, and we explain to them about all the careers that go with a sailing race, because it's like unimaginable the amount of careers that you can have within a sailing race, from sailors to the directors of the teams to the chefs that work for the teams, the logistics teams, you know, so there's a lot of different careers. And then I think having sports in this is very important, because there's so many marine careers through sports. But then also to think about the careers that are not here yet. So 20 years ago, we didn't probably have marine toxicologists, you know, whereas we have them now. So to maybe have something about the future of work in there is important, the future of work, yeah.
So I fully agree. Okay, so one thing, should we incorporate sports here, or are we going to put it someplace else? We're going to have to wrap up soon. Have 9 people in this room, because we already have Vera, chosen one point of the declaration? Because I'm serious, you're not leaving the room unless you adopt one. No, honestly, we want diverse voices. Otherwise, you know, the team here, but it'd be wonderful. So please let that ferment and emerge. Okay, I don't know what time it is, but I have a sense of time that tells me that we're okay.
I don't know what's...
Sorry.
Alexa, what's the time?
2 comments, okay. Many people are interested in the economy. Me too, okay. But what is the purpose of ocean literacy? Not only the economy. Ocean literacy is making a welfare for people, well-being. So I think it's very important to foster ocean sustainability by promoting ocean literacy and ocean blue economy, something like that.
Yeah, but again, the ocean literacy is kind of informing this entire declaration,
Yes.
so that's why why we haven't specified it in every point. But I think we will put an asterisk to say that...
last one is that what is the purpose of the holistic education?
To understand interconnectedness.
My opinion is that holistic education's purpose is making new values, not only the economic values and also intrinsic values of nature, but also something like relational values. That this is a new paradigm of values. Something.
Yeah, I think values is a very important point, and interrelational values. I think we say that in the introduction, but I honestly can't remember anymore.
I'm a little bit worried about the word economy, because there are many companies working with blue economy, using like ocean economy and nature-based solutions to kind of hide their emissions. So there is like this nature-based focus right now regarding mangroves and also oceans. They are still doing a lot of research about it, but I'm a little bit worried about this economy maybe could be foster sustainable ocean careers.
I guess we could just do careers and livelihood, or two key words. But I mean, or just simply use the word jobs. I mean, we need to raise awareness of the jobs that are ocean related, and that's a given. If we're uncomfortable with economy, we can scratch that. What do you say, Paula? Say that we can use the word jobs. Yeah, so we don't get into this whole intertwine of blue ocean or however we want to define it.
I'm working with Green Digital Finance Alliance, and we're working, for example, with financial industry and helping them how to get their head around sustainable blue economy. So, and we got somewhat to the point that probably financial industry might even be worthwhile mentioning as a separate one, because it's more like an enabling industry. And so literacy there is very important, because otherwise they fund also the unsustainable players.
That's absolutely true. I mean, that's a big gap to fill. Some of it is voluntary and some of it is ignorance. But yeah, I guess educating the financial institutions should be in there somewhere in one of these 10 points. Okay. Oh, sorry? Okay.
I mean, I'm very new to this space, but it was just a comment. So maritime career training, I mean, so you've said it's vast, and I'm looking into marine pollution at the moment, and there's literally no sector that is not related to the ocean space. And we want doctors, chemists.
That is in there.
So it's in there?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes, that's definitely in there. Again, pollution was not specifically addressed, but I think it was in our minds through every single point. But yes, it should be spelled out. Sorry. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Berit K. from University of Copenhagen. I was wondering about the outdoor recreation, where because it doesn't belong in this thing about jobs, because it's exactly what we do when we're off jobs, and it's in the definition of recreation, outdoor recreation. I would suggest it to be put into the category which has to do with health and well-being.
Yep.
And maybe to formulate a sentence there, because it's really about our...
I agree with you.
And I also strongly agree that the recreation people who are out there every day or often are really great ambassadors, and they're also some of the ones we see very active in doing things to promote ocean health.
Thank you. I think it should be in both points, because as Vera was saying, it's also a career. I mean, as we heard earlier from the Luna Rossa team, it's a sport. It's definitely a career. It's definitely a job. So I think that sports and recreation can be both in the health and well-being and in this job. We'll just call it the job point, and we'll try and avoid the economy word. Okay, how are we doing with electing our
We
point?
have somebody here that really wants to say something, and I've come all the way over, so,
Thank you. So I not agree with many of people that are saying to avoid economy. I think we cannot avoid economy, because they are part of the world and they are part of our community, and we need them and they need us. So for me, we cannot avoid economy. It should be there. And in the case of maritime career training or maritime career or jobs or whatever, we should translate maritime, not maritime, but marine careers. With marine careers, you have all the people there. Okay?
Yes,
so, and,
I think that's an important point. It's marine, not maritime. Yes, we
Yes.
leave economy. Apologies to those who don't like the word.
I'm
I
sorry.
fully agree. No, look, I'm all in agreement, but...
And if, in my opinion, Paula and the team that wrote this, I don't understand why you wrote, we must invest in holistic education that bridge the gap between natural and social science and humanity in this topic. I don't understand this sentence here. This is a good sentence for the education topic 3 and not here in the training career, because it's not, we don't need holistic education in the career training. It's not at all, in my opinion, we should not put it.
I don't know, we had a citizen scientist before saying that data collection, I mean, there are intersections between, you know, so what I think we're trying to say repeatedly is to break the silos of knowledge and really try and be transdisciplinary and interconnected across all areas. I think, yeah, we're going to, okay, there's more hands raised now than...
The other thing is really thinking about the audience for this, so that as we kind of dip towards 5:30, I think we're going a little bit off of who the audience is for this, and we're starting to write this for ourselves and what we would want. This is for policymakers, and they need to see these kind of words that for us sometimes, the people that are here because of our heart connection to the ocean, I don't want to talk about economy, I just want everyone to love the ocean and have a job and a life and food and enjoy themselves. But we need some of these strong, boring policy words in this thing to actually make a difference. So, yeah, I think we are going to probably have to agree to disagree on some of the words that don't speak to us quite so much from the heart place that we stepped into this room in earlier on.
Yes. Yeah, and again, once the document, it's going to be making so many babies that everyone will take on its own baby and grow it and feed it and nourish it and make it. So staying on this note, who is adopting the other points that remain? Please raise your hands. We're not taking any more comments until this happens. Are you raising a hand because you're adopting one? Okay, so we're going to take note. Give your name and the point you're adopting.
You have to do it via the medium of dance. So while you're reading it, you have to dance out what it is.
Wait, just 1 second. Okay, wait, can you pass the microphone? No, I'm sorry, I'm too tired to remember everyone's name, so I have Vera because it's, okay, Vera is the number, number 8. The numbers are just indicational. What number are you taking?
9.
And remind me of your name?
Amy.
Amy.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you taking we'll put financial, yes. Who's okay, fantastic. What's your, Garrett? Okay, Garrett is taking number 10. If we put the word financial in, which we will.
That's not right. There
Are you
is
taking
no negotiation here.
Number 4, fantastic. Okay.
Number 5.
Okay. What's your name?
Sophia.
Sophia.
What's your name?
Well, I'm okay with going with number 10,
2.
if no one is opposing.
No, number 10 has just been taken. Now we're fighting over them. I love it.
Citizen science woman. What's your name? Ariana. 2.
Number 6.
We've got a 2. Somebody's
Number
taken
6. Tayan. Number 6. Tayan. Okay.
2. We have 2. Ariana.
Number 2. Ariana.
The queen of citizen science, who is here to represent citizen science as the really important thing. Oh. No, you're not allowed to comment anymore.
Sure.
I don't know.
Elsie. Okay.
Dancing, one of the
I don't know.
points of the declaration.
How do we, now we're having more than one, so you can read half and half. Okay, 8, 9, and 10 are taken. 4, 5, and 6 are taken. 1 and 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're missing 1, 3, and 7.
Evie.
Evie. 3.
Hey.
Number 3, Evie.
And somebody just said, "What am I signing myself up for? What is this? What's happening? What are people going to read these out to the press or?"
Well, you don't know. We're staging a show tomorrow in Piazza San Marco. No, everyone, it's a symbolic way of endorsing the declaration. You've become too rational by the end of the day. Okay, so we're missing number 1. Who's taking number 1?
Can I just... You... 1? No? I don't know what you're doing. You want 1? Have we got a good mixture of
1,
everything
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just number 7 we're missing. 7? Are you taking number 7? Okay, so everyone stand up. All the adoptees stand up so we can get the complete picture. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, women outnumber men.
Hey, what's doing that ocean?
I wonder what exactly. Okay, are we happy with this? That women, yeah, I mean, mare. Remember mare, madre. That doesn't undermine the men who. Okay, fantastic. So we're co-creating as we go along. How is this going to happen tomorrow morning? You just, okay, what we're going to do is kind of refine it as much as we can. So it'll be, sorry? Yeah, technical and financial. Gap between natural and social sciences. Technologies, finance, and humanities. Can we solve it that way? Because you know what, otherwise we're going to be up all night and tomorrow we will be dead people walking. I think that will give us, I mean, it's not definite in any way. It's just that we want to get it so that everyone's happy reading it in the form that it will have tomorrow morning.
Can I, sorry, not to open another can of worms, but just, I had one thought about the goals. So we say, by expanding humanity's understanding of the ocean, literacy will empower communities, rah, rah, rah. As we want to say that ocean literacy is like restoring humanity's relationship to the ocean, with the ocean, shouldn't it read by restoring humanity's relationship with the ocean instead of by expanding humanity's understanding of the ocean? Because
I think we need both.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of not understanding, and there's also a lot of, okay, so
but I think,
Saint Paula, it's restoring and fostering or whatever the understanding of in the introduction.
Yeah, so under goals it says by expanding humanity's relationship, understanding of the ocean, and I think there it should say relationship or restoring.
Okay. Okay. So, how is this going to work, Paula? Tomorrow morning, we will have, I would say, the 10 points printed out in a singular fashion, so each adopter can read it. Bear with us if they're not in the perfect form that we want everyone to see it in. And I think that we're pretty much close to, I mean, we could go on for many hours, but I think we've really accomplished a lot. Wonderful to have such a participatory conversation, yes?
I have a comment that goes back to Nicola's comment about policy, which is why I was waving my hand but not volunteering. So I think one thing is missing from like the introduction part, and that all of these items should be influencing policy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think somewhere in that introduction or something, we probably need to say something like that, because one of the audience is policymakers, so we want to make sure that they know that and they understand that. And it also follows along with what some of the other 9 challenges are doing, because they're definitely looking to influence policy. And then I just had one other broad, high-level comment. And we were talking about ocean and waterways. What if we said the ocean and its watersheds? Because that would include every single person on the planet.
Yes, and it's watersheds. Yes.
Yeah, because you had waterways.
Yeah, it's watersheds. Absolutely. Okay.
I've been itching for this one. Talking about ocean careers, I resonate with what Lucy was saying about future ocean careers. But talking about present ones, I work also in the maritime industry, like on old boats, on sailing boats, and most of these jobs are not legitimized. Like, and if this is going to the politicians, I mean, most of the jobs are paid in black.
Yeah.
Let's consider this. And I mean, we cannot talk to kids about this like, oh, you can be a chef on a yacht, if then the chef on a yacht doesn't have a place in society.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe in this, there should be the word and legitimize this
You're
ocean
absolutely
careers.
right. The same goes for fishermen. No.
I was itching for this one because...
Thank you. Thank you. Very, very important contribution. I mean, look, we can just set up cots here and sleep. I think there's probably a lot more to be said. So, anyone else have burning contributions to make?
Just a question. The comment regarding policymakers, like, I didn't find it back here now, but I was more wondering, like, ideally this declaration would also inform and like put a demand out to policymakers and industry.
I totally agree. I took it as a given that the Venice Declaration goes to all global stakeholders, from policymakers to, I mean, really across the board. I'm afraid that if we start spelling them out, then we're going to have to include everyone, and it was so. I kind of agree, but no, wouldn't you say? It really does go out to all stakeholders of our society, really. I mean, everyone needs to know. Okay, yeah, we'll come.
I just wanted to mention this around the ocean education or marine education topic, but we were saying it's not just about education and curriculum, but it's about experiences. Mm-hmm. So could it be marine awareness? So awareness includes those experiential things. So that could be a good one. It's not up there, but it's the develop a solid and adaptable blue curriculum framework. Mm-hmm. And when we moved away from the blue curriculum framework to ocean education,
yes.
But then it's not just education.
It's also awareness.
It's also it's awareness, mm-hmm. And within awareness falls education, experiences, emotions.
Exactly.
The bigger framework of ocean literacy. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So maybe that's an idea as well.
I think that's a good point. That's in point number 3. Okay, wonderful.
Can I ask something? What we said that we would do is to read this tomorrow, right?
Yes. Okay, sorry, wait, go.
Sorry, this is more of a question. Is this meant to be focused on kind of ocean professionals? Because the term professionals is obviously tied to formal training and qualification. Are we meant to be focusing on those careers, or are we also incorporating all ocean-related jobs? Not all of that involves long-term training and formal qualification.
I agree. That's why it's awareness of and training. In some cases, you just need the awareness of, and in other cases, you need the training. So, Paula, it would be awareness of and training. I mean, the words might not really be in a structured
changing the professionals.
Sentence. But, okay, wait. Okay, were you wanting to say something?
Yes. My name is Martina Gagliotti. And first of all, I'd like to say I'm really happy for this event because I served for the IOC UNESCO at the very beginning of this journey. So seeing so many people here is like a dream come true. I'd like to speak now on behalf of the eco people. Because before the event, actually, we gather our ideas, our perspective, and if we are aware that the extant structure of this declaration draft maybe need to include 10 different points. Actually, we developed a sort of amendment of this, an addition. And we'd like to, if it's possible, but if it's not, we will find another alternative way to do that, to add another point to this declaration, which is specific for the ECOP people perspective. I think this is important, both thinking back on my personal experiences, but also because in the last few years, what I worked the most was the field of education through the Blue School program and the outreach dimension of this ocean literacy program. And so we wrote an 11-point. I don't know if it's possible to include it in the final draft.
How long is it? Do you want to read it
But
now?
if I can read it, otherwise we can add and split elsewhere in other points.
I think that we're at the very last seconds, but I
Yeah,
think everyone's
so
happy to
just
hear.
briefly,
Go.
the 11th point from our perspective states, empower and trust early career professionals to lead initiatives, foster meaningful intergenerational dialogue, and enhance their involvement in the decision-making processes. How? Empowering and trusting ECOPs to drive change and fostering meaningful intergenerational dialogue are essential steps towards involving them more in the decision-making process. It is crucial to provide equitable salaries and valuable, ethically inspiring mentorship, particularly during the early stages of their careers, respecting their natural career inclination, recognizing the authorship of their contribution in publication and in project development, and creating more spaces for their perspectives and ideas in decision-making position are all necessary. For ocean literacy to realize its potential in changing humanity's relationship with the ocean, it is vital to address the needs and challenges of ECOPs in this field. We urge the conference delegates to continue developing pathways and support for ECOPs to thrive, paving the way for them to step into roles as the next generation of ocean literacy leaders, experts, facilitators, and co-creators of change. Thank you. Sorry.
I think it's kind of what Natalie was saying before, right? So thank you. I think that's a beautiful contribution. It would definitely need to be edited down. Do you want to email it to Paola? Please email it to Paola. Okay, Paola will read out her email. Paola _ Oh, she can share it. Oh, will you share it? Okay, anyway, come here and get Paola's email address. Okay, I think that, so wonderful. We have 10 adoptees. We'll see, it's certainly not my decision, but whether this one can be read tomorrow morning as well. For those who have signed up for the documentary tonight, remember that you are supposed to go, I don't know at what time, I don't know what time it is, but you are certainly more informed than me. So remember that you've committed to that. And a heartfelt thank you to everybody for their total participation and for all the intelligence and the experience and the caring that you have shared. Thank you.